Well, live from McNeese Baseball Park at Rush Chandler Stadium in beautiful downtown Atlanta, Georgia. Once again, a presentation of Cata Network Radio and Bethune-Cookman University Athletics is on the air. Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is Michael Trevello. Happy to have your company, joined by Bryce Hoynowski for what could very well be the final game of the 2023 school year for Bethune-Cookman Athletics as the Wildcats face the Jackson State Tigers in an elimination contest today. Yesterday, the Wildcats jumped on a slow-starting Southern team early, got a 2-0 lead, and then eventually lost 4-2 as the offense could not find an answer in the later innings. Bryce, we talked to Coach Hernandez a little bit after the game. He was a little bit upset with how his team performed for obvious reasons. What did you take away from that conversation, and what do we need to change today to get the win and keep it going?
I think, Mike, the biggest message from Coach Hernandez to the team at this point is, fellas, this one's on you. If you guys want to come out and show that you belong, show that you are the team in the SWAC that everybody believes you are, that you should be, second place in the East in what we believe is a stronger division than the West, this is where you have to show it. It didn't work out the way they wanted it to yesterday, but like the message was yesterday, you control what you can control. And you're not done yet. It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a big-time run from this Wildcats team to make some serious progress, to make a run at the title from this point. But it's not something they can't do. They have the bats. We've seen them throughout the season. They disappeared yesterday in kind of a worst-case scenario for what we've seen from this Wildcats team, but we know they're capable of doing it, especially as we get deeper and deeper and we start to see these pitching staffs in the SWAC, which we know aren't very deep, really get challenged. You'll start to see arms who really maybe not would be preferred to be out there. It's something the Wildcats need to take advantage of, but I think if the Wildcats can get going early today, get the bats going today, we may still be in for a deep run this week.
That is what we were all hoping for. Yesterday, Nolan Santos did what Nolan Santos had to do, even though he didn't really have his best stuff. He gave us his longest outing of the year. He only gave up 2 runs, gave us a chance to win, and unfortunately it didn't happen on the offensive end. Today we've got Daniel Gaviria, another guy who's gone deep in games, which different style, pitch-to-contact guy. Let the defense work, but gives up about 2 to 4 runs if you can get the offense going. And as you said to me before we went live, every time we score 5 or more runs, we're usually winning the game.
The Wildcats have a winning record in every game where they've scored 5 or more runs, and anything less than that, they've won 1 game total. That was Game 3 of the season against Lehigh. If the Wildcats can crack 5, they're in business.
Here are the starting lineups for today's contest. First for Jackson State, the visiting team in this game. For the Tigers, center fielder leading off Tavius Melton. The left fielder batting second is Daniel Bannon. The third baseman batting third is Ty Hill. The designated hitter batting fourth is Marcus Atterbury. The first baseman batting fifth is Brett Mersman. Miles White plays second base and bats sixth. Omar Gomez plays short and bats seventh. Marshall Louise behind the plate batting eighth. And Cesar Saavedra is in right field, and he bats ninth. Colby Guy will be on the mound when the Tigers take the field in the bottom of the first. For Bethune-Cookman, one change from yesterday's lineup that lost to Southern. Luis Torrero leads off and plays third. Garrett Chun in center field batting second. Highland Hall in right field batting third. Batting fourth is the left fielder Boris Pena. Batting fifth, the designated hitter Robert Moya. Manny Dufresne remains at first base and bats sixth. Colton Olison moves up to seventh in the order, still playing second base. George Braceras comes in to catch after the catcher yesterday got banged up a little bit, Irvin Escobar. And batting ninth is the shortstop, Jeremy Garcia. And on the mound, it's Daniel Gaviria, who is warming up now. Wildcats in the gold jerseys, white pants, maroon helmets with the gold and the white trim. For Jackson State, they're in all navy today. Navy helmets, navy jerseys, gray pants. Jackson State in block letters across the front, white numbers and navy trim. Daniel Gaviria's numbers, he is 5-3 with a 3.70 ERA in 14 appearances with 13 starts, 3 complete games on the season for Gaviria. You're going to need a deep run out of him today, I'm sure. In 80.1 innings pitched, he's given up 42 runs on 79 hits, striking out 49 and walking just 17. Again, low strikeout and walk numbers because he likes to get guys to induce soft contact, put balls in play, let the defense go to work. A defense that, even with a couple errors made yesterday, uncharacteristic errors that I might add, is still the best defensive unit statistically in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. It is a beautiful, beautiful day for baseball. Temperatures in the high 70s, maybe touching the low 80s. Not a cloud in this perfectly blue Atlanta sky. Wind blowing strongly from right to left across the outfield. Left to right across the outfield. A lot stiffer of a breeze than we had yesterday when there was virtually no wind. Jatavius Melton steps into the batter's box with the long dreads flowing down out behind his blue batting helmet. Daniel Gaviria, the lefty, toes the rubber, and we are set for an elimination game here at Rush Chandler Stadium, McNeese Baseball Park in Atlanta. Gaviria winds and fires. First pitch outside. Let's put the fastball for ball one. Defensively, the Wildcats look like this. Pena, Chun, Hall in the outfield left to right. Tuero, Garcia, Olison, Sufrain on the infield left to right. Here's the second pitch. It's low, and it's 2-0. The battery is Braceras behind the plate and Gaviria on the mound. Melton ahead in the count, 0-2. Gaviria working quickly. Here's the pitch. It's hit in the air to the right side. High pop. Racing into foul territory, and the ball is over everybody's head and out of play, and it's a long strike one.
This is going to be a fun matchup today here, Mike. Of course, we know we saw the Tigers for 3 games last weekend at the Jack, and it was about what we expected. This Tigers team is tough, maybe tougher than anyone in this league. They will not quit. We saw that last night. They scored runs in the 8th and the 9th, made it a game all night long for number 1 seed Grambling.
Lost 8-7 to Grambling State. Game we were very interested in watching last night at our hotel room. And again, they went back and forth, lasted 3.5 hours. Breaking ball misses upstairs, and it's an opening batter walk to Jatavius Melton. And this is kind of where Bethune-Cookman yesterday kind of let Southern hang around on him for too long, letting guys get on base early.
That's kind of the name of the game that last weekend against Jackson State. We saw a lot of leadoff runners on for the Tigers. We saw just a lot of left base runners. You can't let it get too out of hand early.
Here's the Aussie, Daniel Bannon, the right-hand hitter, still swinging that bright orange bat as Gaviria checks the runner at first. Very strange, boxy outfield dimensions here at Rush Chandler. 3:29 to left, 3:34 to right. First pitch, Bannon squares to bunt, pulls back on a pitch that's high, ball one. 390 to dead center field, but 382 to left center and a short 350 to right center. We've seen some home runs hit in other games throughout this tournament, although there were none in our game yesterday. Gaviria's 1-0 to Bannon is bunted down the first baseline, foul, 1-1.
You know, Mike, when we talked with Coach Hernandez and he's saying, you know, you control what you can control. There's a lot of what-ifs in yesterday's games. What if Nolan Santos was pulled earlier? What if Colton Olison's shot out into left field gets down for a double that scores Irvin Escobar? What if? You can go down the list, but the what-ifs have to stop today. It has to be go out, play your game, particularly on the offensive end. We're going to see what that approach looks like for Wildcats team desperate to get something going.
The 1-1 bunts it again down the first baseline. This time it'll be playable. Sufrain throws to first. Olison covers well, and there's one away, and Melton moves to second.
Manny Sufrain's had to put in a lot of work over at first early on in this tournament. We saw him with something like 5 putouts by himself yesterday.
A couple of unassisted ones as well.
He's a guy that kind of just goes to show you there's no hole in this Wildcats defense. I mean, he's a great guy over at first base. He holds down the position well. He's great with the stretch, picking balls out of the dirt. Big part of why this Wildcats team is the best defensive team in the SWAC.
Here's Ty Hill. Best batter on this team, batting .381. First pitch to him, low, ball one. In 176 at-bats, he's got 51 runs on 67 hits, 6 homers, and 53 RBIs. And he's got a runner at second with 1 out here in the top of the first. Gaviria looks back the runner at second and delivers. Breaking ball catches the bottom of the zone, 1-1.
We're really going to have to see Daniel Gaviria have his best control of the season here today if he's going to have some serious success. He's a guy that relies on pitch to contact, but when you're only throwing in the mid-80s or so, if you leave one out over on the wrong spot of the plate, it's going to get torched to that short porch out and right.
Gaviria did a really good job against Jackson. Runner goes from second, swing, and a foul back. Jackson State trying the old hit and run, doesn't come off, and the count 1-2. Against Jackson last Friday, Gaviria was excellent, only allowed 2 runs in 6 2/3 innings.
We've seen some outstanding starts from Gaviria over the course of this season. But again, when that command wavers, he can get hit really, really hard.
Gaviria a lot more patient on the mound than maybe Santos was yesterday. Here's the pitch, swinging a chopper to the left-hand side. That'll go foul. The count holds 1-2. The field dimensions are so, wonky in this part because it backs straight up to the indoor-outdoor football practice facility down the left field line and the softball complex and some housing down the right field line. Gaviria once again checks the runner at second, steps back, forces Hill to retreat. Count still 1-2 on Hill. Davius Melton stands on second after the leadoff walk. Here's the pitch. In the dirt, 2-2. And just to start out, like Santos did yesterday, it's very nervous. Everything looks too deliberate. There's not a lot of flow to it.
Which is uncharacteristic for this Wildcats pitching staff, one that's worked with pace all season.
The 2-2 to Hill, runner goes, swinging a chopper towards third. That's going to be a tough play at short for Garcia. He has no play. It's an infield single, and with one down, there's runners on the corners.
Some good discipline by Garcia to just kind of sit on that ball. We've seen the Wildcats kind of attempt in the regular season throws like that across the body over to first. The only thing you're going to do at that point is get yourself in trouble. You have to make sure you keep that runner on third.
Here's Marcus Atterbury, the designated hitter, a .339 average on the season, 32 runs on 41 hits, 5 homers, 32 RBIs. Wildcats in a tough spot, as did yesterday. They had 2 on with 2 out yesterday, didn't allow a run to Southern. Now 2 on, 1 out here. Atterbury squares to bunt, pulls it back for strike 1. Wildcats outfield playing pretty deep. Infield was playing the runner at second as they're going to give Ty Hill a stolen base as the pitch is low, and it's 1-1.
Job by George Braceras to corral that ball. He had a rough weekend last weekend at home. A lot of balls bouncing back to that just colossal backstop area at the Jack.
Not that far to the backstop here at Russ Chandler. The 1-1 to Atterbury. Breaking ball chopped up the middle. That's going to be a tough play. And there's no play once again for Garcia, who races over to get it. A second straight infield single, and it's 1-0 Jackson State.
Well, the stolen base right there ended up really coming back to bite the Wildcats because we saw Garcia and Olesen had to play further away from the bag there at second. If they were holding the runner over, keeping him honest, you probably see Garcia there to track that ball down. But unfortunately, too far away to corral it.
This is probably the worst case scenario start for the Wildcats if your offense is struggling like we were yesterday. Already down 1 in the top of the first and only 1 out. Wildcats defense now plays straight up. Here's Brett Mersman, the right-hand hitter, first baseman. Gaviria throws back to first. Mersman is a .311 hitter, one of 7 Jackson State Tigers hitting over 300. And the first pitch to him in the dirt, ball 1. Mersman, 29 runs on 46 hits, 2 homers, and 34 RBIs. Gaviria once again checks over to first. We thought maybe we might have some rain this weekend, but it has been perfect both yesterday and today. Here's the 1-0. Breaking ball just misses outside, and it's 2-0.
Kind of similar to the way that Nolan Santos started his outing yesterday. Kind of trying to pick the corners, maybe a little too much. Starting a lot of hitters' counts.
As I said, it's nervy. Everything feels nervy. Gaviria rocks and fires. Runner goes to second. Mersman hits this one through the left side, base hit. That's going to score another run. Ty Hill walks home, and once again, 2 straight Ingles, and it's 2-0 Jackson State.
Talk a lot about defensive positioning. That's another one where the play before, Garcia would have been set up in that hole right there to make that play, but he scooted back in towards the bag with the runner on first.
Correction, 3 straight singles for Jackson State.
And unfortunately now the Wildcats are going to have some serious work to do at the plate. Be really interesting to see what the offensive approach looks like. That's going to be a key in this game.
Already a meeting on the mound. The entire infield there just trying to calm down Gaviria. And you can tell the Jackson State dugout is fired up. They're dancing to the music, they're clapping, they're high-fiving. Wildcats already have some heads down over there, but it's still the top of the first.
It's going to take something to get the Wildcats out of their own heads a little bit, whether it's some quick offense in the first inning, whether it be a couple of quick outs here, maybe by a strikeout. You can't have the heads down. It's never going to work out in your favor if your head's taken out of it right away. This Wildcats team needs to show some mental fortitude here if they're going to go long and make this a game and make this a week.
We would love to see Gaviria's first strikeout of the season here. Here's the second baseman, Miles White. Runner on first and second, 1 down, 2 already in the inning here in the top of the first for Jackson State. They lead at 2-0. The lefty Gaviria winds and fires. Swing and foul back to the screen, 0-1.
Early on here, Gaviria, when he's missing low by quite a bit. Everything else is kind of hovering around the middle of the plate, whether it's inside or outside off the edge. Got to kind of mix it up a little bit.
There hasn't been anything easy. Big loping slider misses outside of the lefty, 1-1. But there hasn't been anything easy for the Wildcat defense. It's all been sharply hit balls to the left-hand side. No pop-ups, no easy grounders. As Gaviria deals to White, and he hits him. Got him on the ribs, and the bases are loaded with 1 away.
Looks like Dale Machad now may be starting to trot his way out to the bullpen. He is. In an elimination game like this, can't waste too much time.
The shortstop, number 2, Omar.
And here's Omar Gomez with the bases juiced and 1 out. And we might see the end of Gaviria here as
it's going to be pitching coach Joel Sanchez is going to come out. Just going to have a chat with him. Not going to make the move just yet. Still
giving
need
some time for Machad to warm up.
Of course, ideally, there's no way you want Gaviria to have to come out of this game, but if that deficit gets too big, it very well looks dangerous right now. You got to stop the bleeding when you can.
Bases loaded, 1 out here in the top of the first. A dream start for Jackson State, who really we thought might be a little tired after going 10 rounds with Grambling State yesterday and losing 8-7.
It's just such a gritty Tigers team. They just don't stop. They don't relent. They could be down 5 runs. They could be up 10 runs. They're never going to stop. We saw that last weekend. This was a team that I know that me, Mike, and our assistant Brian Harvey were watching the Grambling State game last night. This is a Jackson State team that none of us would have said we would have preferred to see. I know Grambling State's the #1 seed. I know they've got talent on that roster, but there's something to this Jackson State team that I don't think any other team in this conference maybe has. They just do not quit. They are as relentless as it gets.
And that's really stems from head coach Omar Johnson in his 13th year at Grambling. Never had a losing season since 2007 for the Tigers. They are not going to have one this year. Fastball misses the zone outside. First pitch to Omar Gomez. Head coach Omar Johnson for Jackson State. Jackson State's been down for the last couple of years, but for the majority of his tenure have been the team to beat in the SWAC. We've kind of seen the rise of Alabama State in the last 5 or so years.
He's a guy that's been there. He's seen the SWAC. He's seen the SWAC tournament. He knows what it takes to win, and he's passing that along to this roster.
Count 2-0 on Gomez. Here's the pitch. Fouled away, straight back, 2-1. Gomez, a .293 hitter. 18 runs on 27 hits, 2 homers, 11 RBIs. Gaviria deals. Hammered into center field. That's going to be a base hit, and it's going to score 1. And they're going to hold Mersman at third. Atterbury trots home from third. It is 5 straight reaches of base, 4 singles, and a hit by pitch.
Wildcats there are lucky that ball was hit so hard, it got so quickly out to the center fielder, Chun. Only had the 1 run, but with 1 out still and the bases juiced, it's getting really dangerous for the Wildcat hopes at this point.
Here is the 8th hitter, Marshall Louise, the catcher. 261 hitter, 38 runs on 41 hits, no homers, 19 RBIs. First pitch a strike, the count 0-1. Bases still loaded with 1 out here at the top of the first. 3 runs on 4 hits already for Jackson State. And this one is hit towards the middle. On to second for 1. Back to first. Double play, and the inning is over. That went Olison Garcia Sufrain on the 4-6-3.
It was as desperately needed as you'll ever see.
But the Tigers send 8 to the plate. 3 runs, 4 hits for Jackson State. They take a 3-0 lead as the Wildcats come to bat in the bottom of the first. You're listening to Bethune-Cookman University Baseball on the Cat Eye Network and 1380 WELE The Cat. We go to the bottom of the first. Wildcats are in a 3-0 hole here in an elimination contest at the SWAC tournament in Atlanta, Georgia. The Wildcats will have to do it against Colby Guy. We saw Guy on Saturday, Bryce. It was the starter in the game that Jackson State won on senior day for the Cats in that series. He's a right-hander. His first pitch to Luis Tuero is inside for ball 1. Guy's number's not that impressive. 5-4, 15 starts, 14 starts, 15 appearances with an 8.54 ERA, and Tuero's ahead in the count, 2-0. Guy likes to work real fast. He's throwing it again, this time down the middle for strike 1. In 71 and 2/3 innings pitched, he's allowed 72 runs on 94 hits, striking out 75 and walking 50.
Yeah, Mike, he got that win on Saturday. He pitched 7 innings, allowed 4 earned runs on 7 hits, walked 4, struck out 11. Wildcats have to take advantage of his propensity to walk people.
Well, you said it, not me, as Luis Tuero walks on 5 pitches to begin the inning. And I think the best case scenario for the Wildcats now is to do exactly to Jackson what Jackson's doing us. Force them to go to their bullpen early because they played so long of a game last night. You don't know what arms they have available. We were lucky we only used 1 arm out of the bullpen. That's Yohan Gonzalez. He only pitched 22 pitches. He could be available again today in a pinch. So that is the one advantage the Wildcats have in this game. First pitch to Garrett Chun is a strike on the inside corner. Chun, a 306 hitter, 47 runs on 56 hits, no homers, 16 RBIs. With Tuero at first and nobody out, breaking ball catches the outside corner for strike 2. And Chun quickly behind 0-2 in the count.
Jackson State used 3 pitchers last night, including their closer, Eric Gonzalez. So you start to talk about probably seeing some of those arms that may be vulnerable.
Guy deals. This one is hit hard into right center field. That's going to get down for a base hit, maybe more. It's going to roll all the way to the wall at the 350 mark. Shun going into second with a double, rounding third and coming home. Here's the throw to the plate. It's not in time. It's an RBI double for Garrett Chud as Luis Tuero scores from first, and the maroon and gold are on the board. It's 3-1.
That is just what the doctor ordered for the Wildcats. That's a great piece of hitting by Garrett Chud, seeing the ball right down there all the way to that short porch out in right center. Train needs to keep moving now. It can't stop there. There's a lot of work to do.
Here's a guy that needs to have a big game. Highland Hall, I believe, was 0 for 4 yesterday. Let me take a look back. He was 1 for 4 yesterday. Did score one of the 2 runs that the Wildcats did have, and he hits this one high and deep to center. Going back, melted to the track, to the wall. Adios, amigos! And this ball game is tied. One swing over the dead center field batter's eye for Highland Hall.
Well, this game has shifted pretty dramatically in about 2 swings. This is the Wildcats offensive team we know they have. We know they're capable of this. This is what we expected to see yesterday. This Jackson State pitching staff, plainly put, is not impressive on paper. The Wildcats can get to this team. They can get to a lot of teams in the SWAC. If we see this kind of offense, who's to say where the Wildcats could end up by the end of this week?
Hold on, hold on. They are oh, that's a bench warning on Bethune-Cookman. I thought they were calling Highland Hall back to the plate for some reason.
Now, we've seen a lot of bench warnings early in this SWAC tournament. There's been a bunch of teams that are very fired up. It's kind of the nature of the SWAC. A lot of dugouts really like to get into it. We saw it in the game this morning with Texas Southern.
We saw in the Grambling-Jackson game, both teams get warned early on in that game.
They're just not really standing for it, but things have a propensity to get chippy. I kind of joked around last night when we were sitting in our hotel room that I wouldn't be surprised if this one gets a little chippy between those two teams. It's kind of like a 7-game series in the NHL where guys have just seen each other so much and they're so sick and tired of having to go out with these same guys, whether it be standing on first base or chatting and chirping the catcher or what have you. It has kind of the makings of something that could get there, but the Wildcats need to kind of focus on their game, do their job, and not let that outside distraction get to them.
Well, this is technically game 4 between these 2 teams in the last week. It is kind of a little series. First pitch, a strike to Boris Pena. Base is now empty after the home run by Highland Hall. Still no outs in the bottom of the first. And he's taken 2 straight strikes down the middle, account 0-2. Colby Guy really likes to speed run these at-bats. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Inside, check swing didn't go, and it's 1-2.
We said it, Mike, at the end of last inning, the Wildcats needed something to get their heads up, and that's exactly what they've got, and they have to keep it moving.
Pena takes a pitch in on the hands, 2-2. No movement in the Jackson State pen yet. Pena hits one to third and past the diving glove of Hill and into left field, and it's a base hit for Boris, and the first 4 Wildcats have reached.
And we don't see guys all swinging for the fences. We don't see guys trying to do anything crazy. That right there is just another keep it simple, find the hole in the infield, punch it through. It's that middle of the Wildcats order that we know is capable of that. We have to see that the rest of this week.
Here's Robert Moya, who actually bucked his trend of just swinging for the fences every time yesterday. Actually caught a couple of nice ABs as the ball gets to the backstop, and Boris Pena is going to go to second on the wild pitch. But Moya choked up on the bat, hit a couple right up the middle, including had an RBI single to score the second run yesterday. He was actually one of the guys yesterday that I was most impressed by at the plate, along with, unfortunately, Irvin Escobar, who's a little bit banged up and not playing today.
Yeah, we're dealing with some stuff. He fouled a ball off of his kneecap in that game yesterday.
Here's the 1-0 outside 2-0. Also took a couple of knocks behind the plate while catching, as well as had balls got under his catcher's gear. Had a ball ricochet right off the meaty part of the thigh, which you don't want to take those. Here's the 2-0, chop towards second. This is going to be the first out of the inning as White fires over to Mersman, but he does move Pena to third, so 90 feet away.
These Wildcats can hurt you in a lot of different ways, but one thing you can't do if you're an opposing defense is give them the opportunity to do that through small ball, through walks, through hit batters, through that sort of churning out these runs. They'll do that to you all day.
Here's Manny Sofrain, who struck out 3 times yesterday and ended the game by lining out to the second baseman, who was playing essentially in right field. remember that I was kind of confused in that moment because he hit the ball off the bat really well. I thought, oh, that might get down for a base hit, but the second baseman was playing so far back it just landed right at his glove. Count 1-0 on Safrain. Guy deals, fouled into the seats on the left-hand side, 1-1. And I'll tell you what, the mood in this stadium has changed on a dime in the bottom of this inning. From the maroon and gold fans and dugout thinking, man, we might not be in this at all. 2 swings of the bat, and now it's completely the other way. Now you see Bethune-Cookman's dugout gassing up Manny Safrain, and then Jackson State maybe a little bit quiet in their dugout. Still a man on third, 1 out. Choose the 2-1 pitch. Inside almost hits Safrain, but it did not. 3-1. And at this point, if I'm Safrain, unless he gives me a meatball, I'm letting it go.
That's the approach the Wildcats have to have, not just today, not just with this arm, but the rest of the way here. Let the guys pitch to you.
The 3-1 is a strike. Just caught the bottom part of the zone with the fastball. Count runs full.
Just the little things in the dugout right now. The Wildcats went from everybody slumped over that dugout wall. Guys are moving around. Guys look loose. We got clapping. We got smiles.
The 3-2. Safrain chops it foul first base side. We know Manny's got power. Has 3 home runs on the year, 2 of them in 1 game against Purdue-Fort Wayne all the way back in February. That was a wild game.
Wild series.
Outside ball 4 as Safrain is the second walk victim of the game for Colby Guy. Walked Luis Chuera to lead off the game, and here is Colton Olison, who you got to respect the mindset of Colton Olison. He really has just been up for anything. He's been leadoff, 9-hitter, 7, 8, second base. He probably would play shortstop or third if the coach asked him to. He's just one of those guys that you love to have in the clubhouse.
Yeah, Mike, and we're not involved with every little team meeting, every bus ride, each bit of that. But if there's a guy that's going to be a leader and fire up this team, it's the guy at the plate right now.
Olison takes a ball low, and the count 1-0. Yesterday, he almost had the moment of the game. Took a pitch deep to left center field. Looked good off the bat, but Rolone, the left fielder for the Jaguars, with an inhuman effort almost to track it down in the deepest part of the ballpark in left center, right underneath the scoreboard. And that was kind of the backbreaker for Bethune-Cookman, because if that ball gets down, Escobar scores from second. It's 3-0 BCU. Maybe the starter gets pulled, and who knows where it goes from there. But again, you said it. We can't talk about what ifs. We got to approach the game that we have in front of us right now. The game in front of us right now is 3-3. There's a meeting on the mound between the Jackson State infield. So I'll run you through a quick little inning recap. In the bottom of the first, Tuero led off with a walk. Chun doubled him in from first. Then Highland Hall took the first pitch he saw straight over the batter's eye in dead center field to tie the game at 3. Then Pena singled, moved to second on a wild pitch, and moved to third on a Robert Moya groundout, and Manny Safrain just walked. So here's Colton Olison with runners on the corners and 1 man down in the inning. A fly ball, if a decent length, would give the Wildcats the lead. Olison digs in, and Colby Guy now toes the rubber. And the righty deals. Olison, big cut miss at a ball that dropped off a cliff and ended up in the dirt. And it's 1-1, the count. And the Wildcats can't get over aggressive. They see their teammates hitting the snot of the ball. They think, I'm going to do it too. You got to be patient. Here's a 1-1 in the dirt. Great stop by Louise behind the plate to prevent that from getting to the backstop. Now, a ball to the backstop here is not a guaranteed run like it is if you got a runner on third at the jack, because the backstop here is A, a brick wall, which has a lot of bounce to it, and B, only about 15 feet behind the catcher.
Saw some balls in that first game this morning kind of just bounce right back and end the chance of moving up.
Olison tried to bunt, but he went around on the push, and it's 2-2. Not a bad idea to try the suicide squeeze.
I think maybe the biggest downfall of the Wildcats yesterday, and we kind of got the agreement from Coach Hernandez yesterday about it, was those 5-pitch, 10-pitch innings. Still have to avoid that today. I don't care what the score is. The
2-2, Olison swings and misses at a ball low and away, and there's 2 away. First strikeout of the game for Guy. And now here's the only change to the BCU lineup, George Braceras. Braceras on the season, a .323 hitter. That's actually third on the team for BCU, although he's only played 27 games. But he bats in a big spot here. Tie game, 3-3 runners on the corners, 2 down here in the first. First pitch from Guy, way outside. And it's 1-0. Here's the rest of Viserys' numbers. 14 runs on 30 hits, 1 homer, 41 RBIs with 8 doubles. And the 1-0 swung on, line straight to White, who is standing behind second to make the play. Great defensive positioning for the Tigers, but still 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors, and 2 left. It's a brand new ball game. We go to the second inning of play. 3-3 between the Jackson State Tigers and the BCU Wildcats on the Cat Eye Network and 1380 WELE. Oh no, here it comes. He was just in the dugout chilling. We go to the second inning of what could be a wild game here at Russ Chandler Stadium at McNeese Baseball Park. 3-3 after the first 6 outs are completed as the 9-hole hitter for Jackson State, Cesar Saavedra, comes to the plate to lead off the inning. Daniel Gaviria still out there through 28 pitches in the first inning. And the lefty deals. Breaking ball fouled straight back, and if the netting wasn't there behind the plate, that would have ended up in my lap. As we are behind home plate and a little bit to the right, our broadcast position. Here's the 0-1, upstairs 1-1. And that was the big problem with Gaviria in the first. He's not going after guys. He's kind of dancing around it, trying to get strikeouts, even though that's not his game. Here's the pitch. Hit high in the air to the right-hand side. Sufrain tracking it behind the first base bag. He makes the catch, and there's one away, and that's what Gaviria needs to do.
You just said it, Mike. That is the kind of contact that Gaviria thrives on. That's how we've seen him do these complete games. He's not going to get a lot of strikeouts. He doesn't need them. That's the kind of stuff that's going to get you through quick innings, get you into this game, get deep into this game, which if the Wildcats are going to make a run, they desperately need.
First pitch, a foul back to Jatavius Melton. And the count 0-1. Melton walked and scored in the first. And he fouls one straight back again onto the roof of the press box. And it's 0-2. A lot of room straight up the middle for Melton to put it somewhere. And he takes a breaking ball high and deep to center. Going back is Chun, and he makes the catch 3 steps from the track. And there's 2 outs.
It's interesting. You look at that game tied up at 3-3 now. You could see it potentially settling back into that really tense kind of back and forth, but that's why this is such an important inning for Gaviria. The Wildcats, momentum-wise, have all of it right now. If Gaviria can get this third out, get through this quickly, We'll see the BCU bats get right back to work, keep putting that pressure on. They've got the upper hand in that department.
Here's Daniel Bannon, the right-hander swinging that bright orange bat. Breaking ball finds the outside corner from Gaviria, 1-0. Bannon batting .356. And he puts this one into the right center field for a base hit right over the outstretched glove of Olesen. And Bannon is aboard. Bannon grounded out his first time up.
We know this Jackson State team's going to continue to put pressure. They're not going to let any amount of Wildcats momentum get in their way. The Wildcats are going to have to just withstand it. You're going to have to out-grit this gritty Jackson State team.
And one of the things I remember about the Jackson State series last weekend is they did a lot of work with 2 outs. Like the first guy would pop up, and then there was a strikeout, and then they'd either get a soft base hit or a walk and just grind out innings and make them last. Here's Ty Hill. First pitch, strike outside corner and low, and it's 0-1.
That's a really nice pitch from Gaviria there. Takes that bottom corner. Even if there is contact made there, it's going to be a soft grounder, good for double play balls.
2 away in the inning, Bannon on first. Another breaking ball, this time doesn't catch the zone, 1-1.
Trying to go back to that same pitch there. It's a big put away here. Really need to get out of this quickly, especially with no damage.
Ty Hill, the best batter on this Jackson State team, and he's going to rip one to right field. There's a base hit, so 2 straight base hits to right with 2 outs, and Jackson State's in business with 2 aboard, and here's Atterbury.
Looks like it might just be one of those games, Mike. It's going to be a back and forth. It's going to be a dogfight.
The bullpen for BCU, including Dale Machad, had sat down, and they just got back up and started throwing again. Atterbury singled and scored his first time up. Once again, 2 outs here in the top of the second. Gaviria deals, misses the spot upstairs, and it's 1-0. Atterbury, graduate student from Monticello, Mississippi. And he hits one softly in the air to center. Chun, tracking it through the wind, makes the catch to end the inning. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. We go to the bottom of the second, 3-3 the score here on the Cat Eye Network and 1380 WELE. We welcome those of you now listening on 1380 WELE The Cat. We are now live, thanks to Larry Steele in the booth for getting that one done. First pitch to the 9-hole hitter, Jeremy Garcia, is wide to the left-hand hitter, ball 1. Colby Guy works quickly. Here's the second pitch. Hammered to center field. That's a base hit. That's a 100-plus mile-an-hour ball off the bat from the 9-hole hitter, Garcia, and there's 1 aboard.
The Wildcats early on in this season really thrived with that 8-9 setting up the top of the order. Jeremy Garcia is a guy who's kind of struggled in recent weeks to get on base and to do that sort of thing, but that's exactly what the Wildcats need here. This is a big inning momentum-wise.
It's 3-3. Jackson State had 3 in the first. BCU responded with 3 in the bottom of the first. Jackson State was held to nothing despite 2 hits in the second. Tuero squares to bunt the balls outside, and it's 1-0. Once again, my name is Michael Toretto. Bryce Winoski, the other voice you're hearing today, welcoming you all into McNeese Baseball Park at Rush Chandler Stadium. 1 on with 1 out. Tuero at the plate. Guy deals, and it's low, 2-0.
When Guy misses, it's by a lot. Not competitive pitches. Got to lay off those, take advantage.
50 walks on the season for Guy coming into the ball game. Already 2 in the contest so far. Outside 3-0, and Tuero now has just got to take. There's no way you're swinging at this, even if it's right down the middle. Let him beat you.
No doubt in my mind that would be the call from hitting coach Jose Carballo.
Carballo stands over at third. Here's the pitch. It is a strike on the outside corner, 3-1.
Taken again here, Mike.
I think you be careful here. If he gives you something, the drive, go ahead and take it. But if it's anything, if it's close to the zone, don't bother. He squares to bunt, pulls back. The ball is at his knees, and it's ball 4.
When the Wildcats met Jackson State and Kobe Guy last weekend, we saw them plate 3 runs in the bottom of the first in response to a Jackson State run in the top, but then the Wildcats didn't score again until the 7th. It's going to be really important here for them to keep this train moving. They're on the right track right now. You got to keep putting that pressure on.
There is somebody in Navy sitting in the Jackson State bullpen down the right field line. He's not throwing. He's just sitting out there. Bunted down the third base line by Highland. Oh, no, excuse me, by Garrett Chun, and it's going to go foul. That was close.
Not a bad idea there. Of course, Garrett Chun, we saw already had the double in the game, seeing the ball off Kobe Guy's hand well today. We've seen the Wildcats probably trying to bunt for a base hit right there. We saw that from Luis Tuero late in the game yesterday.
And with first and second and nobody out, I mean, that's not a bad strategy. Even if you do sacrifice, you get the runners to second and third for Hall Peña-Moya. Second pitch to Chun. He squares to bunt. The pitch goes into the opposite batter's box, causing Luis to scramble to prevent it from going to the backstop, and the count 1-1. Chun in the first inning doubled to the deepest part of the park in right center. And that scored Luis Tuero and started the scoring for the maroon and gold. Here's guys 1-1, squaring to bunt again, pulling it back, the ball low and outside, 2-1. And now there is throwing action in the Jackson State pen.
Jesse Caver starting to get loose out there.
We saw Caver last week as well.
A right-hander.
The 2-1, Chun bunts it beautifully right in front of home plate. The catcher picks it up, throws to first. That is about as textbook of a sac bunt as you can imagine. Tuero goes to second. Garcia goes to third. Chun does his job, and now here's Highland Hall, the home run hitter in the first inning with second and third and 1 down.
And hopefully that home run for Hall in the first can kind of spark some big-time production for him for today and for the rest of this week. Kind of struggled for the past weekend or so. Wasn't the typical Highland Hall we've seen all season. SWAC newcomer of the year.
You can't get too aggressive here, though, if you're Highland, and just pop one up. This one takes one in on the hands for ball 1. Yes, he got a good one to hit and put it over the center field wall, but, you know, a ground ball up the middle does the exact same thing. Scores potentially 2 runs here. Highland hits one high in the air to right field and deep. Going back, Saavedra to the track, to the wall. He makes the catch 2 steps from the wall. That will score the run as Garcia trots home. Hold on. What's happening here? Hall, they're sending him back to home plate.
That's the second base official.
That is Joseph Smith.
Everybody back to their respective bases. Pointed Hall back to home plate.
Garcia back to third and Tuero back to second. Well, I'm glad I looked up in time to not circle in my run for Garcia. I'm not sure what happened there.
Well, hold on. Now we don't have a runner at second. It's just Tuero at third, and Hall is back at the plate.
What?
Somebody's going to have to explain what's going on here.
What happened to Luis Tuero at second?
Garcia's in the dugout. Tuero's at third.
Did they call him out somehow? Because they didn't put a run on the board.
So the second base official waved off, was starting to wave everybody off midway through the development of that play.
I am so confused.
Official scoring right now just has it registered as a sacrifice fly, but I'd imagine they'll have to get some kind of answer before we go forward. The scoreboard still says 3-3.
But Hall's still at the plate.
I'll send a text over to our assistant, Brian Harvey, see if we can figure this one out.
Hall hits this one high in the air to center field, not that deep. Melton will stand under it and make the catch. Tagging and coming home, Tuero. He is going to beat the throw easily. And the Wildcats now, question mark, have a 4-3 lead?
Or could it be a 5-3
Could it be
lead?
a 5-3 lead? I'm not sure. I'll leave Jeremy Garcia's spot on my scorecard open for the moment. Hall is out F8. And here is Boris Pena with 2 outs in the inning. Pena singled, moved to second on a wild pitch, to third on a Robert Moya sacrifice, but was stranded by the Olesen and Braceras outs.
We have official word from the stat crew across the hall. We have no idea what's going on.
Unbelievable. So we had a second and third with 1 out situation. Highland Hall hit a ball deep to right field that was caught by Saavedra. Garcia trotted home. Then the play was waved off by the second baseman. The count is 3-0 on Pena, by the way. But they didn't put the run on the board. Strike, here's the count, 3-1.
I've done a lot of live stats at our games this year and last year, and live stats still says 4-3.
Strike inside corner, 3-2 the count now.
I don't even want to think about the conversations that's going on over in that booth about what's going on.
Ground ball towards the middle. Diving stop by White. Throws across his body. It's not in time, and an infield single for Boris Pena. Really nice running by Boris to get there as well. It is now 5-3. They put the run up on the board.
Live.
So does Highland Hall get 2 RBIs?
Or is it a steal of home in some way or another?
I don't know about that one. Here's Robert Moyer with 2 down and Pena on first. First pitch low, 1-0.
Okay, I think we may have it sorted out, at least according to live stats. It was called a balk. Garcia scores on the balk. Tuero goes over, so Hall gets a sac fly.
Okay, well, he technically has 2 sac flies in 1 at-bat. I got to say, in all my years watching and broadcasting baseball, that's a first for me, my friend.
You just almost never see the guy called back to the plate like that.
Count 2-0 on Moya. Here's the pitch. It's right down the middle and hammered to right field. That is going to be a fair ball down the line and get to the corner. Trundling towards third is Pena. Moya going to second. He's going to be waved around. Here's the throw to the plate. It got nobody. The throw was wild, and they missed the cutoff man, and it's an RBI triple for Robert Moya.
Get up, Robert Moya, his second triple of the year. If he's not the least likely guy you'd think to leg out a triple on this Wildcat roster, he can't be very far up the list. But with
so Coach Gomez is going out to talk to the pitcher. We got a chance to talk about that because there's been so much to talk about this inning. So he hit it all the way down the first baseline, went all the way to the corner. Saavedra dug it out, threw it back in. Now, if that throw is on the money, Pena, trying to score from first, is out by a mile, but he misses the cutoff man. The ball rolls all the way to the shortstop, which allows Moya to go to third and Pena to score from first.
It's been we're going to have to take a breather after this inning, Mike.
Oh,
it's
my
been
goodness.
A little all over the place. So to catch everybody up, the Highland Hall play was scored at balk. So Garcia scores on the balk. Tuero moves to third. Then we get the sacrifice fly from Highland Hall that scores Tuero. From there we reset. Pena singles, Moya triples. That brings us to 6-3.
I got to say, this may be the most chaotic 2 innings of baseball we've had all year.
Well, fortunately for us and for the Wildcats, they're not nearly as confused as we are. They're continuing to go out there pitch by pitch. And this is an offensive Wildcats team that, talking to coach, talking amongst ourselves, if we see this Wildcats team show up consistently, if they get hot, if they build that confidence, there is no telling how far they can go in this thing. These SWAC pitchers that we're going to see the rest of this week, the rest of today, they're not the caliber of those number 1 guys that we saw yesterday. Across the board, guys like Hunter Veets, guys like Melendez with Alabama State.
Guys like Nolan Santos with BCU,
After you get past that, it is a absolute free-for-all. And we've seen it even with the Wildcats. Daniel Gaviria has done his job all season. He's not the same caliber
New
as those
pitcher,
guys.
by the way, for Jackson State. We'll get you his numbers in a minute. This is Jesse Caver, excuse me. We write him down.
Wildcats have to keep the train moving. Don't get complacent. Don't settle down. Don't let the new arm fool you too much.
Jesse Caver is a tall right-hander, throws overhand straight downhill. He is 6-4 in 15 appearances with 12 starts. He's got a 5.17 ERA and 1 complete game. In 71 1/3 innings pitched, he's given up 49 runs on 80 hits, striking out 67 and walking 35. He's given up 3 homers, 5 triples, and 16 doubles. So he's not a stranger to letting the ball get hit hard off of him. But again, I think this is an angle that we haven't seen. Colby Guy, kind of a side armor, kind of got that lazy, lanky delivery. Caver's just going to go right at you with a fastball. Very simple. You know, it's completely different look that the Wildcats are going to have to deal with at the plate going forward.
And it's good that they got the 3 runs in already, but again, if you can give Daniel Gaviria a really big boost on the mound, you can keep him going, give him some length, even if the stuff isn't quite there, even if the command's not quite there. And when you're talking about going deep at this point, you're really going to need guys to give you distance. If that means it's courtesy of the bats doing their job and giving you that cushion, that is what it is. You take that all day and you move on.
Nike is the official outfitter of the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Gear up on the newest BCU Nike gear at nike.com/Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Manny Sufrain up now. He walked and was stranded on first in the opening frame, and it's going to be the first player to face Jesse Caver. Robert Moya is on third with 2 down and 3 in already in the bottom of the second. And the righty deals. Sufrain hits this one foul outside of first into the Jackson State bullpen. Sufrain's another guy with a lot of power. If he connects with one, it could be long out of here. The 0-1. Bounce to the plate cricket style. It gets behind Louise, but thankfully for him, I think it kicked off the umpire's foot and didn't go to the backstop.
Seen some weird official interference. Not technically interference, but we saw, of course, that foul ball yesterday that kind of ate up Irvin Escobar. He had to run around the official, ended up costing Nolan Santos probably a good 20 pitches in the first inning of that game yesterday.
Caver sets and deals the 1-1. Breaking ball, big loping curveball. Catches the outside part of the plate, and it's 1-2. That pitch must have been down in the low 70s. It was a crawler. Ephus style.
Wildcats got ate up by a slider like that yesterday from Southern.
The 1-2. Caver goes back with the fastball, misses low 2-2.
And just one more thing on the balk, and I promise I'll be done. That's why we've talked about it in the last couple weekends at the Jack. There needs to be some better signaling, some better hand signals. Everything in baseball is kind of point, make a fist, something similar like that. There needs to be some kind of sign so we know what's going on up here.
The 2-2, outside 3-2.
That's it. I'm done. No more balk talk. We're moving on. We're past it. It's 6-3. We're done. I promise.
That's a story we're going to be telling for a while, I bet, on long bus rides in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Here's the 3-2. Outside, Sufrain has walked for the second straight inning. And that'll bring up Colton Olison, who struck out in the first.
Jackson State staff continuing to show that they will walk you. Continue to be patient. No matter how out of hand this game may get, keep taking those walks, keep working long counts. I still don't want to see any 10 or less pitch innings for these Wildcats.
So, interesting you mentioned that on the walk. Coming into the game, the Tigers had let up a combined 282 walks this season. I'll get to the end of my point after the first pitch to Olison. Caver deals, and it's skipped to the plate and gets to the backstop. It's going to bounce away towards the Wildcat dugout, and Robert Moya scores on the wild pitch.
Wildcats taking advantage of more and more and more mistakes. Mistakes that we're not really accustomed to seeing from Jackson State.
Count 1-0. Here's the end of my point. But coming into the game, they'd walked 182 players. They had been walked 282 times. So it completely evens out over the course of a season. Here's the 0-1-0 to Olison. In the dirt, 2-0. Louise keeps it in front of him this time. So Sufrain moved to second on the wild pitch. Moya scored. The score is now 7-3 Wildcats. Caver from the stretch. Grounded to third, just barely foul. That would have gone all the way to the corner, but Johnny on the spot to make the call. Lee Ishman was there, immediately put his hands up. I think from the angle we have, I agree with him. Coach Carballo was immediately in his ear. No. But I agree, that was just inches foul.
But it's just more of that hard contact. And in baseball nowadays, everybody's just hunting for hard contact. And it kind of seems like more often than not, when you continue to see those hard hit balls, foul, fair, otherwise, they eventually come back, and those balls stay in the park. They stay between those lines, and they get dangerous.
Count 2-1 to Olison. With Sufrain on second, 2 down in the Bottom of the second. Caver winds and fires. This one hit fair inside of third. The exact same play as last time, but this one stays fair. Soufrain's going to trundle around third. He's going to come home. Olesen switches places with him. It's an RBI double for Colton Olesen, and it's 8-3 BCU.
The barrage continues. This is the kind of confidence I did not expect we would see from the Wildcats. I don't think you can overstate how big of a response this has been from the team after that first inning. Now you can bring Gaviria back out for the next inning. He can continue to kind of give you some length and really keep you in this thing for the rest of the week. Of course, we cannot overlook Jackson State. They're going to continue to put it on, but that's why you're continuing to do what you do here. Do not let off.
Jackson State could be down 1-billion-1, and they'd still approach the game in the exact same way, still get up there looking for runs, looking for hits. They're not going to go away.
I kind of compare them to the Miami Heat that we've seen in the NBA all the playoffs this year. They just keep going. They don't let the pressure off.
You could say that about, maybe the Panthers and hockey as well. Clinched their series last night. We had an entertaining evening in the in the hotel last night, watching the end of the baseball game here, then switching over to the end of the hockey game, which was exciting. They scored with 4 seconds left.
It's we're hoping what's been a fun start to the week just
keeps on rolling.
Keeps on rolling. I'm as down to stay out here till Sunday as anybody else.
Here is George Braceras lined to a perfectly positioned White at second base to end the first inning, with Olesen on second and 2 outs. The Wildcats have scored 3 of their 5 runs in this inning with 2 outs. Carver deals. Breaking ball chopped foul behind the plate.
I think that 2-out success is indicative of just a mentally tough team, one that just keeps pushing. Don't let it get down. Don't let it get in front of you. Doesn't matter how many outs are on the board. Baseball's got no clock. Just keep going.
Count 0-1. Caver deals. Breaking ball fanned at by Braceras. I do admit, Caver's missed some spots, but he's got some nasty stuff. That breaking ball just drops off a cliff to righties, and you're swinging at air.
I think it's definitely the best breaking ball we've seen in the tournament so far this week. Some guys just don't have it.
It's funny because yesterday Nolan Santos' fastball wasn't working, but the curveball was where he got all of his strikeouts.
Yeah, Coach Hernandez agreed with us. Easily his best curve of the season.
This time up by the head of Braceras, backs out of the way, and it's 1-2. Jackson State a strike away from getting out of this inning, and boy, do the Tigers need it. Now down 8-3 when they started this game up 3-0. Colton Olesen goes to third. The ball gets away a little bit from Louise in the opposite batter's box, and it's a stolen base for Colton.
Love to see success from Colton Olesen. He's the guy that's going to put a charge into this team. One of the most fired guys up after yesterday's result.
A rare stolen base for the Wildcats this year. The 2-2 in the dirt, 3-2. And another one that almost got away from Louise, and I think Louise took one where the sun don't shine, as he took a minute to get up there. We've seen Nolan Santos, who's running the fresh baseballs out to the home plate umpire, Chris Booker, get more running in than some of the Jackson State players in the field today.
Yeah, we saw him pretty sweaty this morning out doing some running. Staying ready. May need to see him later in this week if everything goes according to plan.
The full count delivery fouled back to the screen. We'll do it again. Once again, Olesen, who's one of the faster guys on this team, is 90 feet away, and he could easily come home on a pass ball. We've already seen one in the inning from Robert Moya. This time it's a swing and miss, though. Braceras strikes out. The Wildcats send 9 to the plate. They score 9 runs, 4 hits, and 1 left on base. We go to the 3rd inning of play. It's 8-3 BCU over Jackson State. Not sure if we're playing basketball or baseball here on the Cat Eye Network and 1380 WELE. To the third inning we go.
Having fun, Mike. Are you having fun? Yeah, just kind of where he's been positioned. No fault of his own, kind of the traditional way you would play some of these at-bats. Had to make a run over to it. Would have made a nice stab. Probably would have had a play at it at first, but that's really tough one to make. That'll go in as a hit.
Here's Miles White as he
Jackson State off behind the plate. 1-1 to White. White, a .333 hitter, 48 runs on 36 hits, no homers, 23 RBIs. And lefty Gaviria checks the runner at first, now deals. Big loping curveball misses inside, 2-1. As the Florida A&M Rattlers arrive for their 3 p.m. contest with Alabama State. That'll be one to watch if you're a neutral baseball fan. Hit high and foul into the Jackson State bullpen down the right field line. Again, that was hard contact.
Gaviria's still got to maintain pitching to that contact. Again, don't nibble. Don't try to get too many strikeouts. Try to work at some length now. Give the Wildcats some of these arms a blow.
A little bit of a confusion. They announced Omar Gomez as the next batter. He was in the on-deck circle and just retrieved White's bat for him. He was not out on a foul ball. That's not a thing. It's 2-2 to White. Gaviria deals. Breaking ball, slap foul, first base side. A lot of these has been really close to potential doubles or triples down the lines. As Gaviria has flirted with disaster a couple of times, especially in the first. And the second, as Jackson State got two out singles. The 2-2. Outside, 3-2. Nice frame job attempt from Becerris, but the home plate umpire, Chris Booker, not going for it. 4-person umpiring crews here in the SWAC tournament games, whereas we only have 3 in the regular season. Count full on White. Gaviria winds and fires. Upstairs, ball 4. And the first 2 are on board for Jackson State in the third.
Still got to try to avoid giving Jackson State some life here. They certainly don't need you to do that. I know they've got enough chutzpah to them to continue to kind of push and challenge these Wildcats, but you got to do what you can to avoid giving them any of that momentum back.
Here's Omar Gomez, singled in the first, was stranded there. Actually, was caught in the double play by Marshall Louise. Didn't write that down. A lot of other stuff happening. First pitch to him, squares to bunt down the third base line. Charging Tuero, throws to first. Just got him in time by half a step. The runners advance to second and third with 1 down.
It's a nice jump there by Tuero. Nice play. Charge in on that ball. Make that. That was a close play.
Here's Marshall Louise, the catcher, who had a tough inning in the bottom of the second. Had a couple balls get to the backstop, had a run score on a wild pitch. Took a couple of shots underneath the protective catcher's gear as well. Can try and really change the narrative with a hit here. Is second and third, 1 out. First pitch above his head, and it's 1-0. Gaviria has been very slow in this game. He deals, hits head high in the air to right field and deep. Going back is Hall. He's at the track. He's at the wall. He leaps. He makes the catch. Oh, Highland Hall robs a double or more away from Marshall Louise. Mersman trots home to score from third, but man, that could have been a lot worse.
And I think that's kind of a courtesy of seeing some success on the offensive end. You stay locked in on defense, make a tough play. Highland Hall's got the athleticism to get any ball in that outfield. That's a nice play from Hall.
Now with 2 away, here's Cesar Saavedra popped out to first base behind the bag to lead off the second. This would be a big get to only allow 1 run here in this inning for Jackson State. Hit in the air to center field. Straight back goes Chun. He backpedals. He makes the catch. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 left. We go to the bottom of the third. Wildcats have a 4-run lead. It's 8-4 here in Atlanta on the Cat Eye Network and 1380 WELE. We head to the bottom of the third, another new pitcher in the game for Jackson State. This is Eric Gonzalez, who was in contention for Relief Pitcher of the Year in the SWAC, had 8 saves in the regular season, lost out to Yohan Pokey Gonzalez of Bethune-Cookman for that spot. And as you mentioned during the break, Bryce, he's going to be kind of playing that little Andrew Miller role, just shut it down.
Yeah, it's less so about distance or anything else.
But the first pitch is at the feet of Jeremy Garcia for ball 1. Garcia singled and came home on the balk in the second to lead off the second. The 1-0, strike down the middle, 1-1. Last night we saw Gonzalez work a little bit against Grambling State through 19 pitches, so he should be relatively fresh. The 1-1, Garcia hits it in the air to right field, but straight at Saavedra, who makes the catch.
And Gonzalez last night wasn't as sharp as we've seen him this season. Allowed 2 runs on 3 hits. Had 1 strikeout, a wild pitch. But like you said, Mike, he's going to come in here and maybe only an inning, maybe only a couple of innings. We'll see how it goes. But he's going to kind of try to shut things down, keep the Wildcats quiet for the first time today.
Here's Luis Tuero. He's walked twice and scored twice. First pitch swinging high in the air to left field down the line. It is going to be foul. And it just bounces into the BCU bullpen. Weird quirk of this stadium is that the bullpens jut out towards the line, and there's about a 10-foot space between the outfield wall and the end of the bullpen coming in toward down the line, where there's about 2 feet of foul space there.
Also, those really, really short walls to get into the bullpen.
So you could have some impressive diving catches over the bullpen wall. I'm sure we might see one today. Count 0-1 on Tuero. Inside, did it hit him? No. And it's 1-1. Surprised after being walked twice, Tuero came out first pitch swinging at this at-bat. Who wants a piece of the action? Gonzalez is 1-1. Breaking ball misses everything. And it is 2-1.
And we kind of talked with Coach Johnny yesterday. They were pleading with their guys these first pitches. Don't swing.
Tuero grounds one to first. Stabbed by Mersman. He'll take it himself, and there's quickly 2 away. I think this is the first time in the game for either team that the first 2 players have both got out in the inning. No, the Wildcats set the first 2 Tigers down in the second.
Gonzalez at 7 pitches on the inning. Like to see Wildcats maybe get a runner on here, maybe try to put a little bit of pressure on. Don't want to settle down too much. Gaviria still not looking particularly sharp.
Here's Garrett Sean, RBI double in the first, and a beautiful sacrifice bunt in the second. Takes a first pitch inside and low for ball 1. And the righty winds and fires. This is laced to right field, but again, a diving catch by Saavedra, as that was pretty much right at him. So Eric Gonzalez does the job, only throws about 10 pitches, gets out of the inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Cats. We go to the 4th. 8-4 BCU over Jackson State here on the Cat Eye Network and 1380 WELE. We go to the top of the 4th, top of the order for Jackson State. Here's Jatavius Melton, walked and scored in the first, flied out to center in the second. Wildcats lead this one 8-4 in this elimination contest here in the SWAC tournament. Daniel Gaviria is still out there for the Wildcats. Puts a first pitch strike down the middle, and it's 0-1 to Melton. Even though the Wildcats have this 4-run lead, you can't get complacent. Second pitch low, 1-1. Because this Jackson State team will continue to just chip away and chip away and chip away, and your 4 or 5-run lead coming down to the end of the game is gone. Right back up the middle, under Gaviria's glove. Leadoff base hit for Melton.
Another one through that infield. That's not a bad approach from Gaviria there. You're still just trying to get those ground balls. Focus on that soft contact. Don't try to do too much. Let your defense work behind you. More often than not, those will go your way.
But if this inning gets crooked, I think this might be the end for Gaviria.
Yeah, the Wildcats bullpen will really start to buckle down. Dale Machad probably good for 3 innings if he's on his game. Yohan Gonzalez didn't go too long last night.
First pitch to Daniel Bannon. Breaking ball misses outside and high. Grounded out in the first, singled in the second, did Bannon. Dale Machad back there lazily throwing in the BCU bullpen. Melton dives back safely on a pickoff. Make sure you are representing Bethune-Cookman University Athletics to the fullest. Buy the latest BCU gear online at the BCU Online Store. Go to bcuathletics.com and click on Shop. That's bcuathletics.com and click on Shop to find the newest BCU clothing and apparel. 2 pickoffs while I was doing that ad read. So it's still 1-0 to Bannon. The runner goes. The pitch is fouled away. We've seen Jackson State do a couple of hit and runs today. They haven't pulled one off yet. But again, super aggressive on the base paths, and you kind of have to be at this point.
Yeah, these SWAC schools, we were talking with our assistant Brian Harvey about it last night. A lot of these SWAC schools just have so many athletes. Less so maybe baseball players, as they are just pure athletes. Guys with that speed, with that athleticism. Just grind out stuff on the base paths, things like that.
Pitch to Bannon low, 2-1. You kind of feel that Gaviria, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but pitching kind of a little scared right now. He doesn't want to give up a big fly, get into a disadvantageous position as he checks Melton over at first again. He's just been kind of pitching around the zone and getting in some hitters' counts early.
When he's so reliant on pitching to contact, you get a little worried that sometimes that contact doesn't go your way.
Another pickoff, the fourth of the at-bat, to try and keep Melton at first. Melton, 30 stolen bases on 37 attempts. They even try a pitch out to try and get a steal, and they count 3-1.
Not sure I like giving up that pitch right there. Now we got a great hitter's count for Bannon.
So Melton has 30 steals on the year. Nobody else on the Jackson State roster has more than 10 as Bannon swings and tips it into Braceros' glove, and it's 3-2 the count.
Be a big pitch here. Still wouldn't be surprised if Melton tries to run.
Gaviria's payoff. Melton does go. It's hit sharply through the left field line and down and into the corner. Melton could score here. He's going to round third. Here's the throw to the plate. It is not going to be there, and Melton scores from first. It's an RBI double for Daniel Bannon, and the lead is down to 3. It's 8-5, and this is going to be the end of Daniel Gaviria.
Yeah, Mike, I thought we might have a play on that ball. Boris Pena got a lucky kick off of that short wall out by the bullpen into his glove. Didn't have enough pace on that throw to reach the cutoff man in time to feed it home.
Melton is so fast. I don't think we were going to get it anyway.
Running on the pitch to begin with.
But again, Jackson State just chip away and chip away and chip away, and I think we're going to see Dale Machad here.
Dale Machad's been really good for the past couple of weeks for the Wildcats. If he can give them 3 innings, see where it goes from there. We talked about it, how critical he could be as that setup guy in those last couple weekends of play. We're going to need to see it here, similar to what we've seen from Gonzalez. Come in, shut it down. Everybody relax. He had some success against Jackson State last weekend. Let's see if he can carry it over here.
Here's Dale Machad's numbers for the season. He's 3-1 in 18 appearances with no starts, with a .366 ERA and 1 save. In 32 innings pitched, he's given up 13 runs on 29 hits, 13 earned, striking out 30 and walking just 12, giving up 3 homers, 1 triple, and 5 doubles. Opponents hitting .238 against Dale Machad.
Machad took over in relief from Nolan Santos in Game 1 last Thursday against Jackson State. He went 3 innings, allowed just 3 hits, struck out 4, didn't walk anybody. Threw 47 pitches, so he's got that length. He's had success against Jackson State. They have seen him now, and they've seen him recently. We know he's got that funky arm angle that's always a little bit tough to see the ball out of his hand.
Be a part of BCU Athletics and support the Cat Eye Network. If you or your business is interested in partnering with us here on the Cat Eye Network, you can reach out to Wildcat Athletic Communications Department at bcusportsinfo@cookman.edu. That's bcusportsinfo@cookman.edu. Your business could be on air with the Wildcats. Machad, the long right-hander, gets ready. He's rocking the mustache too, I think.
Yeah, Machad's had the mustache for a couple of weekends. Definitely on brand for his personalities. Fun guy in the locker room, keeps it loose.
We have Gaviria with the mustache, Machad with the mustache. A couple of other guys have been trying it.
Tuero sporting it for the first time.
And now here's Ty Hill, singled and scored in the first, singled in the second, was stranded there. He's got a runner on second, nobody out, 1 already in the inning. The score is 8-7. Bethune-Cookman leads Jackson State in this elimination game here at the SWAC tournament at McNeese Baseball Park on the campus of Georgia Tech in Atlanta. Machad from the stretch, first pitch to Ty Hill, breaking ball, misses the outside corner. And Chris Booker, the home plate umpire today, has had a narrower strike zone than maybe we're used to seeing in the SWAC.
We've seen a lot, especially on that outside edge, especially the jack with some of those crews. We saw him pretty wide open over there.
Breaking ball that time finds the inside part of the plate, and it's 1-1.
That's a really nice pitch from Ashad. He had the best ERA of any Wildcats pitcher last season. He's got the stuff to succeed, no doubt.
This is a high-pressure situation, and the Wildcats, as Ty Hill lifts this one into right, going back, Highland Hall makes the grab, tagging and going to third is Bannon. He will be safe as the throw goes wide.
Anytime a ball's hit out there to right center, everybody has to kind of cringe a little bit with that short porch just kind of looming out there. That one didn't have quite enough carry on it. We got the wind kicking out just a little bit to left. Certainly didn't help things.
Now with one down, here's Atterbury. Single had scored in the first, flied out to center to end the second. But after that big 5-run inning for Bethune-Cookman in the second, you know, the Wildcats, we thought they had that big leash, and then it's been just slowly reeled in. Jackson State got one in the third. They've already got one in the fourth. First pitch to Atterbury's outside for ball one.
Playoff baseball, even with the 3-run lead, especially after last night, things are still pretty tense here.
Inside ball two as Michaud misses with the fastball. I think that's kind of been what's been plaguing the Jackson State pitchers aside from Gonzalez, who got that 1-2-3 inning. Atterbury swings and misses at a fastball on the heart of the plate, and it's 2-1.
Michaud's fastball is not going to blow anybody away, but when you couple with some of those breaking balls and some of the strategy, fooling some guys, getting some swings.
Dale delivers at the knees, ball 3, 3-1 to Atterbury. Daniel Bannon 90 feet away from making this a 2-run game. The pitch way outside, and Atterbury walks. And now here's Brett Mersman. Mersman has singled in the first and singled in the third. He scored in the third. It was the one run that Jackson State got in that inning, and I think they might be putting a pinch runner on first for Atterbury. No, they'll leave him out there. Just, there was some other Jackson State player from the bench going out to grab his gear, give him his sliding mitt. And now here's Brett Mersman.
Really like to see Dale Michaud escape this one with minimal damage, really give him a chance to reset next inning, kind of lock in, come out with a clean situation, kind of settle in from there. I think we've seen that a lot from him this year. He's gotten put in this situation a couple of times.
First pitch to Mersman, way outside, 1-0. As that kind of jovial attitude that the Wildcats had after the second inning has kind of disappeared.
Probably a little gun shy after the result from last night.
Low 2-0 as Michaud now struggling to find the zone as Yohan Gonzalez trots out to the BCU bullpen.
Got Pablo Torres is down there, Louis Lipthrat is out there, Yoancel Diaz is out there. Interested to see how it goes from here.
The 2-0 down the middle, 2-1 with Mersman taking all the way. So now both teams deep into their bullpens, and we mentioned last night, this could get wild. Hopefully it continues to be wild in the Wildcats' favor. Here's the 2-1. At the knees, strike two, 2-2.
It's a big pitch and a nice rebound by Michaud to get back in this at bat. Jackson State hitters take advantage of hitters' counts.
You can't really pitch on your emotions. You just got to throw the ball. Each pitch is a new chance to get it right. Runners on the corners, one down. The 2-2 hit high in the air and foul down the right field line. That looked pretty good off the bat, but it just drifted foul with the wind that's whipping left to right here at McNeese Baseball Park today.
Another ball out to that right side. Always little dicey when it gets hit over there. It's short wall.
The 2-2 outside, 3-2.
Tried to get the swing and miss there. Trying not to leave anything too far over the plate. Danced out just a little bit too far there.
A walk would load the bases with one down. Michaud deals. Hit high in the air to the right-hand side. That's going to be foul again into the trees. Count holds 3-2. This the 7th pitch of the at-bat between Michaud and Mersman. The righty throws it. It's fouled away. We'll do an 8th pitch.
These long at-bats, particularly when Mersman's shown he's got the distance out there over in right field. Maybe try to go inside and get him to swing in on something on his hands. The reality is it's got to be over the plate.
Once again, the 3-2. Mersman fouls it back for a 3rd straight time. He's just ahead, I think, of the slider from Michaud. He's just catching a piece of it.
Only a matter of time before he times it right.
Pitch number 9 of the at-bat. Another payoff. Here's the pitch. Grounded through the hole to the right side. That's going to be an RBI. Bannon scores, and it's a 2-run game, 8-6.
When you work those long at-bats, it's destined to pay off eventually. That's a good one right there. Really in need of settling things down. I think Michaud and this Wildcats bullpen will work well once they're given the opportunity to see appearance with the bases empty, but have to get there first.
Jackson State has hit the ball 10 times in the first 4 innings. Michaud lets the first pitch to Miles White get away from him to the outside.
Seen a couple pitches kind of fly out of Michaud's hand a little strange, let go of it a little early. Joel Sanchez now is going to come out and check on his guy. Going to come out twice today.
The Jackson State Tigers have as many hits in the ball game as the Wildcats have gotten outs in the ball game. And yet, it's still a 8-6 Wildcat lead, although with the way things are going, that might not be there for long.
I hate to keep singing the praises of Jackson State, but they are just so relentless. We saw it last night in that Grambling State game, just back and forth all the way through. They battle with the #1 seed in the West. Not fazed by anything. Don't get their heads down too much. Wildcats desperately need to get out of here so they can get back to kind of playing a little more loose. Of course, we saw that 10 or so pitch inning last frame for the Wildcats. Can't have that happen again with the way Jackson State continues to swing the bat. You have to match them blow for blow if you want to get out of this thing.
Stay up to date with everything Bethune-Cookman Athletics by checking out the Wildcats on social media. Give BCU Athletics a like on Facebook and follow the Wildcats on Twitter and Instagram at BCU_athletics. For the latest on BCU baseball, follow at BCU Diamondcats on Twitter and at BCU Baseball on Instagram. Count 1-0 to Miles White. The meeting on the mound is over. First and second, 1 out. 2 already in here in the 4th. White fouls it back to the screen. 1-1 the count. You can see that brick wall behind the plate. It ricocheted off that after the foul ball and rolled all the way back in front of the plate. That's how much rebound they're getting. Michaud's 1-1. Inside 2-1.
Another one Braceras tried to frame. Snuck a little bit too in, probably a bit low at the knees too.
White with 23 RBIs on the year. Looking for more now. And he swings and misses at a pitch way out of the zone, and it's 2-2.
It's like he was swinging a hose on that one. Completely fooled by the off speed. Sean could use another swing and miss like that. Get this one in reach here.
Another long at bat. Here's the 2-2. There's strike 3 called on the inside corner. White doesn't like it, but it's a big second out for Dale Michaud and Bethune-Cookman.
That was an excellent pitch by Michaud. Just caught the bottom corner of the plate there. Got him on the fastball after the big off-speed pitch. Now just one away.
Here's Omar Gomez, singled and was caught in a double play in the first, and then grounded out in the third. First pitch to him. Breaking ball misses outside to the righty. 1-0. Michaud, long hold. Now he deals. Again outside. Missed with the fastball. 2-0.
Just a tick off the outside edge there. Michaud's going to want that one back.
Dale Michaud, the senior from Key West. The 2-0. Upstairs at the letters 3-0.
Last thing you need to do here is walk the bases loaded. Just let your defense work. Try to do some contact. Don't try to go too hard for the swing and miss. Too much work to do in this at bat at this point.
The 3-0 pitch. Strike on the outside corner. Omar Gomez was already walking out of the batter's box toward first base. He thought that was ball 4.
Pitch was kind of in the same spot we saw the strikeout in the last at bat.
Now the 3-1. Strike at the knees as Gomez tried to trot to first again. Now it's 3-2.
Exact same pitch right there. Shot went right back to it. Huge payoff pitch.
Does he go to the well one too many times? Here's the payoff from Michaud. Way outside, missed his spot, and the bases are loaded.
The plot continues to thicken for BCU.
Here's Marshall Louise, hit into a double play in the first, flied out to right in the third. And a base hit would tie the game. Bases loaded, 2 outs here in the top of the 4th, and Jonathan Hernandez maybe about to take Michaud out of the game.
His way on in here. Another guy who saw success against Jackson State last weekend. Let's see what else he has this time around.
This is a big decision for Coach Hernandez. But I guess he's trying to keep arms fresh for a potential run.
It's just so tough to play the game that way. I'm not sure if that's totally what Coach Hernandez is going for here. Pablo Torres last weekend went 3 2/3, allowed just 1 hit, walked 1, struck out 5 against Jackson State. But we saw a similar line from Michaud. It's all reset once you get to the postseason. But I think the biggest thing we saw from Torres last weekend is he's got that high 90s fastball that Jackson State never quite tracked down. It's just a velocity you don't see much in this conference. Jackson State has not seen that so far in this tournament. Did not see it against Grambling yesterday. It's going to take him a couple batters to catch up to it. I think it's the right call by Hernandez here.
We shall see. Pablo Torres, 2-2 in 13 appearances with 4 starts, has a 6.62 ERA. In 35 1/3 innings pitched, he's got 29 runs on 36 hits, 26 earned, striking out 47 and walking 25. He's given up 5 homers, 2 triples, 3 doubles, and batters are batting .271 against. Tough spot for BCU. We were so over the moon after that 5-run inning. And then it all has kind of unraveled. Yes, the Wildcats still have the lead, but Jackson State has the bases loaded.
I think this is kind of the game we expected to see after last weekend's bout with Jackson State. 2 teams that just continuing to go at it. Got to be hoping if you're a Wildcat fan that those BCU bats still have some life left in them, because regardless of the way this inning ends, I'm not sure 8's going to get it done.
What was your stat in the pregame show, Bryce?
Well, 5 has been the magic number for the Wildcats this season. They've got a 4-4 record when they score 5, 5-2 when they score 6, 2-2 when they score 7, 4-0 when they score 9, and 13-1 when they score 10 or more. But clearly we've blown past our 5 runs. It's going to be a slugfest here on out. Somebody is going to have to buckle down eventually.
Marshall Louise steps to the plate to face the hard-throwing righty, Pablo Torres. A native of Orlando, a freshman in a big spot right here for the Maroon and Gold. Bases loaded, 2 outs, bottom of the 4th. Cats once led 8-3. It is now 8-6. First pitch from Torres, fastball in the dirt. You can tell he was really loading up.
Definitely a little gassed up on that one, but if that fastball finds the zone, it's really tough for Jackson State to catch up on it, especially with some of the arms they've seen so far this week.
Torres will be from the stretch. The righty fires. This time he gets soft contact back to the mound, but it's a foul ball because it bounced on the plate.
It's a tough break for the Wildcats.
It may have fouled off of Luis's ankle. He's holding it and walking around behind the plate.
I think if you're Torres here, you keep challenging with the fastball until they prove to you they can catch up with it. It's kind of what we saw from Torres last weekend. Just continued to fire it in there, and Jackson State was just consistently behind it.
Pablo Torres has even impressed some of the high major schools up at Florida State earlier this year, impressed those broadcasters with a fastball. The 1-1. Upstairs and outside, 2-1. Now the 2-1 delivery. In the dirt, 3-1.
You know, it's clear we talked coming into this weekend that we want to pitch with that short porch. You'd want to pitch left-handers away so they can't get it in on the hands as we switch balls here and turn on it out over that short porch. But I've seen Torres a couple of times. Dale Machad suffered the same thing. It's just too far outside. It's not something the guys are going to offer at. I get wanting them to have to flick it the other way. Can't sell out too much and miss your spots by that much.
The 3-1. A walk scores a run for Jackson State. It is hit high in the air in the foul area behind third. It is caught! Oh my goodness! Luis Tuero goes over the wall and makes the catch to end the inning.
Mike, you kind of hinted that that might be coming earlier in this game. Those short little walls, sneaks right over it. Saves a lot of potential heartbreak for this Wildcats team early in this game. 2
runs, 3 hits, no errors. The bases left loaded for Jackson State. We go to the bottom of the 4th. The Wildcats are going to need some runs. They're up 8-6 here on the Cat Eye Network and 1380 WELE. To the bottom of the 4th we go. In a game that's already ticking toward the 2-hour mark here in the bottom of the 4th. Highland Hall leads off to face Eric Gonzalez, who sat the Wildcats down 1-2-3 in the last inning. And it is very important that BCU get to Gonzalez and get him out. We cannot have him pitch 3, 4, 5 innings and go deep in this contest. The first pitch to Hall, low and away, ball 1. Highland hit the home run to get the Wildcats tied the game in the first, then flied out to center field in the second. And he hits this one sharply on the ground to short, but right at Gomez, who fields and fires one away.
Been a long sit for Gonzalez between innings. Gets First out quickly, courtesy of Highland Hall. Got to be careful not to fall back into that rut we saw yesterday.
Here is Boris Pena. Singled and advanced on a wild pitch in the first, eventually was stranded. Singled and scored in the second in that 5-run inning. He was the start of that 2-out rally that saw him, Moya, and Sufrain all score. First pitch is a strike from Gonzalez. Working quickly the 0-1. Fouled away. It was a big reach from Pena, but he stays alive 0-2.
Another pitcher's count. Wildcats not making it easy, swinging a lot, being aggressive. I get it, they had success early, but gotta relax.
This one way up by Pena's head, and it's 1-2. We've seen that a little bit from Gonzalez. He's mostly right on, and then sometimes he just throws some wild ones. Count 1-2 on Pena. Gonzalez deals. Upstairs at the letters, 1-2. It should be 2-2.
You have to figure Gonzalez is probably the last arm that JSU can really depend on out of that bullpen, so you want to work counts, if nothing else, to get him out.
Big breaking ball missed inside, 3-2. Good AB here from Torero after going down 0-2 after 2 pitches. Tipped into the glove, strike 3. And there's quickly 2 away.
To just about 15 pitches for Gonzalez now. And he threw 37 against the Wildcats last weekend. He can give them some innings if you give him a chance. Got to put up a fight here.
Here's Robert Moya, grounded out in the first and tripled in on RBI. In the second, first pitch, strike at the knees, 1-0. Of course, their best pitcher, Jesse Womble, pitched a lot yesterday. Grounded to second, snagged by White, flips to first. 3 up, 3 down for the second straight time. Go the Wildcats. And back to nervy moments in the field for BCU as they still lead 8-6. We go to the 5th right here on the Cat Eye Network and 1380 WELE, the Cats. To the 5th we go. Saavedra bats in the 9-hole to lead off the inning for Jackson State, who were down at one point 8-3, but has chipped away at it every inning, and it's now 8-6. Pablo Torres remains on the mound for BCU. First pitch swing and a miss at a fastball upstairs. And it is 0-1.
There's that big fastball by Torres. It's going to take some effort by Jackson State to catch up with that one.
We are hoping that just one of these relievers for BCU can get a couple innings, couple of quick innings out of this Jackson State roster. There have been at least one man on in every single inning for Jackson State. They have not gone 1, 2, 3 yet.
That was the formula last weekend. Wildcats came on top on 2 of 3, but it certainly wasn't easy.
The 1-1. Hit off the end of the bat, foul over the press box, 1-2.
Something we didn't see from Mashad last inning that Pablo Torres has done here, quickly getting into a pitcher's count. Gotta retire him here.
I think Torres needs to attack hitters early in counts. He cannot get away with just poking around the corners and then having to throw a meatball at the end. Grounded towards short. Stopped by Garcia. Fires across the diamond. Safe.
I don't know about that call. He looked out. From here, we'll see if Coach Hernandez opts for a challenge. I'm not seeing any immediate motion here, but certainly looked safe.
Another leadoff single, another infield single for Jackson State. And here's the top of the order, Jatavius Melton. Walked and scored in the first, fly to center in the second. Singled and scored in the fourth. And once again, the leadoff batter on for Jackson State. Melton represents the tying run. Torres deals, fouled away, 0-1.
Pablo Torres is one of the couple guys on this Wildcats pitching staff that has the luxury of being able to get away with a pitch that he leaves out on the wrong spot of the plate just because of that velocity that he has. That's why, like you said, Mike, he really needs to attack these hitters here.
Pitch from Torres in the dirt outside, 1-1. You know, Pablo's just a freshman. He has some of those freshman tendencies. He misses spots. He can be a bit wild, but that speed is there. And a couple of years, he could be a really great college pitcher. The 1-1, runner goes. Throw down to second by Braceras. He's safe. And a stolen base for Cesar Saavedra.
Coach Hernandez is coming out. Thinks the ball was foul tipped. Don't think we'll get any change to the call there. Couldn't hear a tip from here.
No, he's going to ask the first baseman. And the first base umpire, and the first base umpire, Augustus Griffin, says no. And we'll play on. So runner on second, nobody out. The count 2-1 to Jatavius Melton. Torres deals. Melton hits it right back up the middle. Diving stop by Olison. Throws to first in time. What a play by Colton.
That saved a run. That's the Colton Olison we've known and loved all season long. Great grab, backhanded that ball right behind the bag at second, threw it over to first quickly. Made light work of a really tough play.
Daniel Bannon up now, grounded out in the first, singled in the second, RBI double, and scored in the fourth. And now he bats with one down, and Cesar Saavedra 90 feet away from making this a one-run game. First pitch from Torres. Strike outside corner. Really delayed strike call from Chris Booker, and he's been kind of consistent at that. He waits, and then he puts the arm up there, and it's caused a couple of hitters on both sides to start trotting to first when they think it's ball four.
Especially on those put-out pitches. Yeah, it's been an adventure, as it always is.
The 0-1, Bannon stands back in, waves the orange bat above his head. Here's the pitch. He swings at a high fastball, hits it foul, and it's 0-2.
You have to take advantage if you're Torres of these pitchers' counts. Haven't seen a lot of them for the Wildcats yet. Don't let the batters get back in this. Put them away.
Torres from the stretch. Bannon hits it high in the air to center field. Moving over, Chun makes the catch. That'll get the run in. Tagging and scoring from third is Saavedra, and it is 8-7.
We said it from the beginning, Mike. We knew Jackson State was going to chip away and chip away. The Wildcats had a strong start to this game, but it's still going to be the bats that are going to have to pick it up.
2 outs, nobody on now. Here's Ty Hill. Singled and scored in the first, singled in the second, fly to right in the fourth. That was the incredible catch by Highland Hall. We reached over his head, saved at least two, saved a one run, maybe two. First pitch to Hill, upstairs and in, ball one. As we approach 2 hours already in this ball game, in the fifth inning. A marathon and Russ Chandler today. Another pitch at the exact same spot, up and in, 2-0. That one looked a little bit like an off-speeder. Something rare from Torres. Pablo winds and fires. Fastball over the heart of the plate. Big cut and miss from Ty Hill.
When Torres can get that fastball in on the hands, there's just no way these SWAC batters are going to be able to get their hands around quick enough to make contact with it.
He tried the first two pitches. It just missed a little bit upstairs and in. Now the 2-1. Swing and a miss. This time the fastball went outside, and Hill couldn't catch up to it. It's 2-2.
That's the kind of swing and misses we saw for the Tigers against Torres last weekend. Just a tick behind it, not able to catch up with it. Not a fastball velocity they're used to seeing.
Pablo a strike away from getting out of this inning. He winds and fires. It's low and outside. That one was close, but no strike three call forthcoming, and the count runs full 3-2.
Tigers are kind of doing what the Wildcats haven't, continuing to work these full counts no matter which direction it starts, getting that pitch count up.
The 3-2. Swing and a miss. It was off speed. He got him with the changeup. One run, no hits, and none left. And we go to the bottom of the fifth. Wildcats lead was once 5. It's now 1. 8-7 the score right here on the Cat Eye Network and 1380 WELE. Matty Suffrain leads off the order for the Wildcats here in the fifth. They've been set up 6 up, 6 down after scoring 8 runs in the first 2 innings by Eric Gonzalez, primarily the closer for Jackson State. Brought in a long relief scenario and has done really well. Let's see if Suffrain can change the narrative. First pitch, ball on the inside corner, 1-0.
Well, he's only averaged 10 pitches an inning in the 2 he's thrown. I'd hardly call it a long relief out, and the Wildcats just giving him a chance to stay in this game.
Low and outside, and on the other end, the Tigers have just continued to chip away at it. 1 in the third, 2 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, and it's now a 1-run game, 8-7. The 2-0, Suffrain swings and fouls it off at the plate, 2-1.
Started to see just a hair of activity down in that Jackson State bullpen. 55, Omari Barksdale.
Hit softly on the ground to second, moving over White, underhands to first, 1 away. The Wildcats have put the ball in play against Gonzalez. Only 1 strikeout, but it's all been easy, soft contact or pop-ups. Here's Colton Olison. Struck out in the first, had an RBI double in the second. Stole third, was stranded on third by the Braceras strikeout. Breaking ball misses outside, 1-0. Olison had a potential RBI double completely robbed by Rolón yesterday out in left field. Swings and misses at a high fastball. Swings so hard he walks back out of the batter's box, and it's 1-1. Those are the kind of wild swings Coach Hernandez maybe trying to avoid. Home plate umpire beckons Olesen back into the box, and here we go. The 1-1. Olesen fouls it straight back. 1 and 2.
I think one of the biggest differences offensively as we've gotten into these middle innings is the Wildcats. Their contact, like you said, Mike, is a lot of easy plays. Jackson State, even the ground balls have been really tough. We saw that ball to Olesen. A lot of these fly balls are long runs.
The 1-2. Olesen fouls it off. We'll do it again.
Just not challenging these defenses in a way that Jackson State has done to the Wildcats, at least not to this point.
Once again, the 1-2. Olesen hits it high in the air to left field, not deep. Moving in is Bannon. He makes the catch. And there's 2 away.
Gonzalez just over 20 pitches. Don't want to see him out in another inning.
He threw, what, 17 last night? Here's George Braceras. Braceras line to second. Takes a strike, 0-1 in the first, and then struck out in the second to end the second. Looking for his first on-base appearance of the day. Would like to get it right here. The 0-1, breaking ball misses outside, 1-1. One of the few players in this game, Bannon, the other one, who swings a very brightly colored bat. This one orange with a gray design on it. 1-1 delivery over the head, and it hit the helmet of George Braceras. So maybe not the way he envisioned getting on base, but he is aboard with 2 away, and that'll bring up Jeremy Garcia.
It's kind of the first mistake we've seen from Gonzalez. Credit to him. He's been all around the zone in his whole appearance. He's made the Wildcats work. He's induced that soft contact. Got to try to make him pay here, and at the very least, maybe see the last of him here in this inning going forward.
Here's Jeremy Garcia, singled in the first and then scored on the, or should be singled in the second, scored on a balk, and then flied out in the third. He was the first player to face Gonzalez, first player now to see him twice, and he grounds this one sharply through the left-hand side, and that's a base hit.
Like we said, Jeremy Garcia, a guy who's not had a ton of success at the plate in recent weeks, is finally coming on here. That's that Wildcats bottom of the order. We talked about it over the season. That's a deep order. A lot of guys up and down the lineup who can get base hits, get on base. Finally, we're starting to see Gonzalez have to pitch with a little bit of pressure here with 2 outs.
Nobody up in the Tiger bullpen. Here's Luis Tuero, walked and scored in the first and second. Grounded out to first in the third. 2 on, 2 out here in the 5th. Wildcats clinging to a 1-run lead. Throw back to second, and out on the throw is George Braceras. Hold on. I think the Wildcats are going to challenge this. The umpires are motioning everybody back onto the field.
Take a look at the feed here, see if we can try to catch a glimpse of the Wildcats' chances here.
They are going to go to the replay review. It looked like he was out to the naked eye from really far away behind the plate where we are. But it was close. I think he is out. But we shall see. We are going to a review. I'm not sure if Coach Hernandez or Coach Carballo challenged this or they are automatically initiating a review.
Looked to me like Coach Hernandez snuck out there. Oh, and on view of that replay, I think his hand might have snuck in there. We'll see it again.
We don't have a great angle on the replay review. We're watching it right now. Now here's a better angle at it. Now they're showing it from behind. He spins, he throws to second, he dives back in, and that is very close.
I think he's safe.
I'm still not convinced either way, and remember the call on the field was out. Again, we're looking at through this from maroon and gold colored glasses. Maybe he snuck that right hand in there, but it's very close. Again.
Either way, that's a killer way. Especially if it ends up the way it was called. That's a killer way to end an inning. That's the kind of discipline that could really cost you in a game like this. You go from first real offensive threat since back in the second inning to out just like that on the base paths, especially with the top of your order due up, really getting a chance to put something together.
And Braceras was pretty far off the bag. He's not a guy you expect to steal. I'm looking to see if he does have a steal on this season. He doesn't even have an attempt to steal on the season, so you're right. It's a little bit of undisciplined play. They come from the replay booth with the call. And he is out, and that's the end of the inning.
Killer result for BCU.
No runs, one hit, one left. And we go to the top of the sixth. Wildcats hanging on to a one-run lead, 8-7 here in Atlanta. Playoff elimination on the line. Jackson State coming to bat right here on 1380 WELE, The Cat, and the Cat Eye Network. To the top of the sixth we go, and at one point what looked would be a blowout win for Bethune-Cookman is now a one-run game. Jackson State has scored in each of the last 3 innings. The gap is 8-7. Marcus Atterbury, the designated hitter, leads off against Pablo Torres. Atterbury singled and scored in the first, fly to center in the second, walked in the fourth, and was stranded on third. In a game that has just surpassed the 2-hour mark. And we have just started the sixth.
So in between innings, Coach Hernandez was chatting with one of the officials here. Long talk about that play at the end of the inning, but still not going to go his way.
First pitch from Torres. Swing and a miss at a breaking ball. And there is the count of 1-0. Excuse me, 0-1.
This Wildcats dugout is just so desperate to see a quick inning and get back to the plate as quick as possible.
Torres fires the fastball and misses his spot, low and away, 1-1. Jackson State has just not gone away. Atterbury sharply hits the third, and it's under the glove of Tuero, who could not get it on the dive. And it's another single hard hit ball for Jackson State, and another leadoff batter aboard.
This is what we've said, Mike. The Wildcats, you know, when they're trying to feed balls through the infield or quick fly balls, they haven't really been ones that have challenged the Jackson State defense. And as good as this Wildcats defense is, that's a really tough play for Tuero to knock that ball down. Jackson State just continues to pour it on in every way possible in this game.
5 out of the 6 innings so far for Jackson State. The leadoff man has gotten aboard.
Saw it last weekend. Always just feels like it's about to break.
Spinning a throw back to first. Atterbury doesn't stray too far from the bag. Here's Brett Mersman. 3 base hits on the day for Mersman, 1 run scored. He's 3 for 3. He hits the ball hard. He almost had a couple of home runs today that just went foul down the right field line. Likes to pull the ball from his left-handed batter's spot. Count 1-0. Torres the pitch. Low in the dirt, 2-0. I think now with a runner aboard, nobody out, Torres maybe getting in his head a little bit, trying to be perfect. You can't let perfect be the enemy of good.
These are the kind of baseball games we're going to see if the Wildcats can move on the rest of this tournament. Got to gut it out.
Atterbury shows steal, doesn't go. Pitch down the middle for strike one, 2-1.
Big hole again up the middle here. Colton Olson played out towards right field and towards Highland Hall.
The pitch. Atterbury check swing, fouls it off, 2-2. Jackson stayed in this position because they lost a back-and-forth battle with Grambling last night, 8-7. Guess what? Right now it's 8-7. With the potential for more, Mersman chops it off his foot, foul, and the count holds 2-2. BCU in this position because they couldn't get past Southern 4-2 yesterday. Once again, the 2-2 from Torres. Hit off the end of the bat, sky high down the left field line. Moving over, Pena lazily makes the catch, throws in to keep Atterbury at first, and there's one away.
Every single out just feels so hard to get for the Wildcats right now. Every time you see one easy go down like that, everyone kind of breathes a sigh of relief and right back to the thick of the pressure.
I'm so tense every time that the ball leaves the bat, because you never know where it's going, and more often than not, it's been hit hard somewhere where the defense isn't. First pitch, breaking ball strike to Miles White. White was hit by a pitch in the first, walked in the third, and struck out in the fourth, so he's 0 for 1 with 2 free passes. He's also played great in the field at second base, has Miles White. The 0-1, swing and a miss, couldn't catch up to the upstairs fastball, 0-2. White doesn't play all that much in the field because on nights when Colby Guy is not starting, he is their second baseman. We saw that in the series against BCU in Florida last weekend. Heading the count, 0-2. Strike 3 called on the outside corner. Perfect frame job from Braceras. And down goes White. There's 2 away. That's his second strikeout of the game.
That's such a big out. Finally kind of starting to see a little bit of a string together. 2 outs. Still the guy on first, though. It's still just as tense here for the fans, for the dugout, for us up here in the booth.
Here's Omar Gomez. Singled and was caught in a double play in the first. First pitch to him, strike, breaking ball outside corner, 0-1. Then in the third, he grounded out to third. And was to the leadoff single. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, sir. And it's 0-2.
Pablo Torres is a guy that has the distance and the length stretched out wise to give him some innings. If he can kind of settle in here, may still see him for a bit.
Hold on, the home plate umpire has walked out in front of the plate and is writing something down. He pointed to home plate dramatically, but seemingly nothing has changed. The count hasn't changed. It's not a balk. Nobody's moving. Oh, he's checking the count. And the count remains 0-2. So here we go. The pitch from Torres. Outside. Really wanted that strike 3 call from Booker. Not forthcoming. 1-2.
Just a bit high, trying to get that high swing and miss to go to with it. You have a fastball like he does.
The 1-2. Chopper towards short. Fielded cleanly by Garcia. Throws across the diamond in time. 1 run, no hit. So no runs, 1 hit, 1 left. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Wildcats looking for some offense. They still lead 8-7 right here on the Cat Eye Network and 1380 WELE. Just a programming note for those of you listening on WELE. There is paid programming coming up at 3 o'clock. So if you want to listen to the game in full, head on over to youtube.com/Cat Eye Network, and where you can find the remainder of our call and every game for the rest of this tournament. That's youtube.com/Cat Eye Network. We'll be back with the bottom of the 6th. To the bottom of the 6th we go. Michael Torello, Bryce Hoynoski in the broadcast booth for you as the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman hold an 8-7 lead. Top of the order coming up to try and figure out Eric Gonzalez. They had a hit by pitch and a single towards the end of the last inning, but a pickoff ended the Wildcats' threat, so maybe something starting. First pitch to Tuero is a strike down the middle. And it's 0-1. Gonzalez has been in cruise control for the 3 innings he's been there. Low and inside to Tuero, 1-1.
Hopefully finally starting to see the end of this outing for Gonzalez. Pitch count's a little high. Finally started to see some contact against him in the last inning. Wildcats have to finish the job here.
30 pitches before the inning. Swing and miss from Tuero in the count, 1-2. He threw how many pitches? 19 pitches last night in relief?
19 pitches.
So really he's up to 9. Tuero in off the hands, pops this one up behind second base. The shortstop, Gomez, calls for it and makes the catch, 1 away.
Gonzalez just continuing to get outs. The one thing he's done that the rest of the Jackson State staff has been unable to do today is even his balls that miss off the plate have not been far enough off. They've been competitive pitches, and the Wildcats have had no choice but to swing, and it's led to a lot of ground outs, a lot of weak pop outs.
Here's Garrett Shun. Only 1 strikeout for Gonzalez since he came into the 3rd. That was against Boris Pena, but everything has been put in play. It's been easy work, except the single by Jeremy Garcia that was hit hard the opposite way to the left-hand side. The 1-0, big looping curveball in there for a strike, and it's 1-1. Gonzalez works quickly, misses way outside, and that avoids the glove of the catcher Louise and heads to the backstop. And it's 2-1. Wildcats trying to survive and advance to day 3 of the tournament. The 2-1, outside 3-1. If the Wildcats do end up holding on today, they'll face the loser of Southern and Grambling tomorrow at noon. The 3-1 upstairs, ball 4, a 5-pitch walk worked by Garrett Shun with 1 away.
So they're walking as many innings for Gonzalez. Again, finally starting to show some cracks after what's been a really great relief outing for him. At the very least, if you're the Wildcats, you have to hope this is starting to mean the end of his outing.
But there's nobody working. Well, there's somebody throwing very lazily in the Jackson State bullpen. We can't see who it is. They're behind a trash can or a pillar or something out there. We can't see. But I think they're going to ride Gonzalez as far as he'll go. First pitch right down the middle, a strike to Highland Hall. Hall homered in the 1st, flied to center in the 2nd, grounded out to short in the 4th. But that home run was really what kickstarted the Wildcats' 8-run 1st and 2nd innings. Spinning a throwback to 1st, safely diving back in is Garrett Shun. That play was closer than it probably should have been. Because of the pickoff to end the last inning, Bethune-Cookman's got to be really careful on the base paths. Hall behind the count, 0-1. Gonzalez spins and throws back to 1st, and he's out! Garrett Shun is out, and it's another pickoff. And I think we can't challenge because we've already lost the challenge. Shun is staying there. All the umpires will convene, except the umpire on first base that made the call, Augustus Griffin.
We will go to the booth. I think this one's going to be a little bit closer than what we saw from Berceris. But either way, just kind of baffling base running for the Wildcats right now. Trying to maybe do too much. At the end of the day, it's come down to the bats.
They've been super aggressive while picking off, which we don't see a lot in this league. I think the reason that some of the strike numbers are the steal numbers are super elevated in the SWAC is because they don't try and pick off a lot. We're now looking at the replay review from the broadcast. So here's the spin. Playing this in super slow motion. As we wait for them to actually show the play, here's the spin, the throw to 1st. And it looks like he's out. Yeah, he is out by a long stretch. This is not going to be a long review. And Garrett Chun is going to be picked off at first, and there's going to be 2 away.
Just a brutal 2-inning span for the Wildcats. Again, you're giving Gonzalez an out of thin air after a good worked walk from Chun. Now he's looking at 2 outs. Wildcats kind of in a rut here at the plate, similar to the one we saw yesterday. Not doing yourself any favors, getting outs on the base paths. Kind of plays you look back, and if this game does not go the way of the Wildcats, pretty quick to point to those 2 plays right there.
Advertise with us here on the Cat Eye Network. BCU Athletics is offering sponsorship opportunities across the Cat Eye Network. Come partner with the best of Wildcat Nation. For more information, you can reach out to Bethune-Cookman Athletic Communications at bcusportsinfo@cookman.edu. That's BCU sportsinfo@cookman.edu. As we were talking this morning, Bryce, 100 days until BCU football season starts up in August, the 100th season of Wildcat football. First under head coach Raymond Woody Jr. The Cat Eye Network will be there at home and on the road for those games to bring you live via 1380 WELE as well. Once again, if you're listening to us on 1380 WELE around Daytona Beach, we have paid programming coming up at 3 p.m. This game has gone long. Here come the umpires. And he is going to be out as we thought so. So there are 2 away, and now Hall bats with nobody on and 2 down. But again, you can go to youtube.com/Cat Eye Network to continue listening to this game and every game all season long as the Wildcats go in this tournament. So Highland Hall down in the count 0-1, now with 2 outs and nobody aboard. Faces Eric Gonzalez. And Gonzalez throws behind Hall's head. It didn't hit him, so he's not going to get the free pass, but the count 1-1, and Highland Hall not happy about that.
Gonzalez starting to look a bit winded out there, finally starting to see more and more of those type of throws. Ball just coming out of his hand a little early, definitely getting tired out there. He's had to throw a lot over the past 2 days. See where it goes from here.
Highland digs in, the count 1-1. He swings and misses at a fastball outside, 1-2. But still, even a tired Eric Gonzalez is the runner-up for SWAC Relief Pitcher of the Year. And we thought maybe in the last series of the season he had done enough to earn that nod over Yohan Gonzalez. Here's the 1-2. Hall on the ground to second, but perfectly positioned is Gomez to fire across to end the inning. Technically, 1-2-3 go the Wildcats. They had the pickoff in the middle. We go to the 7th inning of play. Wildcats still holding on to an 8-7 lead. This is BCU Baseball on the Cat Eye Network and 1380 WELE. We go to the 7th inning. Wildcats still holding on to a 8-7 lead. At one point after the second, it was 8-3, but Jackson State has just not gone away and chipped away at Gaviria and Michaud, and now Torres, Pablo Torres, in for his 3rd inning of work. First pitch, a fastball strike on the outside corner to Marshall Louise. Louise grounded into a double play in the first. Fly to right in the third and popped out to third in the fifth. There's a strike at the knees again, and it's 0-2. That pop out to third in the fourth to end the inning was the spectacular catch where Luis Torero went over the wall behind the bleachers down the left field line to make the catch to end the inning and strand the bases loaded. Fastball just misses outside, 1-2.
Pablo Torres' longest outing of the season was 5 2/3 at Mississippi Valley State. Pitches-wise, though, he's thrown 86 back on April 22nd at Bama State.
Somebody maybe the Wildcats will be touting as a starter next season. Grounded towards second. Olesen fields it deep in the hole, throws across to Sufrain, one down.
It's a rare routine play for this Wildcats defense today. Jackson State has just challenged them all day long. Good to see one go down for Colton Olesen. And thankfully, no leadoff runner will be on in this inning.
Cesar Saavedra popped out behind third base in the second, flied out to center in the third, singled and scored in the fifth. He hits this one on the ground towards short. Another routine play, this time for Garcia, and there's quickly 2 away.
Wildcats finally doing to Jackson State what Jackson State has done to the Wildcats for the last 4 innings or so.
Now that's 8-9 in the order, and now here's one. Jatavius Melton has been a thorn in the Wildcats' side today. Walked and scored in the first, fly to center in the second, singled and scored in the fourth, grounded out in the fifth, but that allowed a runner to advance. But he pokes this one right to the glove of Colton Olesen, who was positioned perfectly behind second base. And for the first time in the game, Bryce, 1, 2, 3 go the Tigers. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Right here on the Cat Eye Network and 1380 WELA. We go to the bottom of the 7th. It was stretch time across the break here at McNeese Baseball Park. Boris Pena leads it off. Singled and was stranded in the first, singled and scored in the second, struck out in the fourth. The 3 trips for Pena to the plate today. He is so far, the only strikeout victim for Eric Gonzalez in his now 5th inning of work. He starts, misses down low with the fastball, 1-0. We were talking at the break. He's looked a little bit wild at times, but his stuff, when it's there, it's still good. Breaking ball catches the outside part of the plate, 1-1.
It's kind of the first signs of life on the Wildcats, particularly defensively after the last inning we've seen in a few innings.
Gonzalez deals a big loping curveball. Must have been down in the low 70s that finds the plate, 1-2.
Be careful about throwing that pitch too much, especially after 2 straight.
He goes back with the fastball and gets Pena to strike out.
That was a really tough sequence for Boris Pena right there. Finally had the curveball all tied up. Might have been guessing curve there, and then when he threw the fastball his way, it was just a bit behind it after seeing those 2 low 70s curves.
Here's Moya, grounded out in the first, hit a triple, an RBI triple in the second, and then grounded out in the fourth. Both of his grounds outs to the right-hand side. Breaking ball off the plate, but it's called a strike.
Another slow breaking ball. Robert Moy is the kind of guy that can tattoo that thing if it's in the wrong spot of the plate.
Goes with the fastball. Moya fouls it back. Is it going to be in play? No. As Luis watches it hit the roof of the press box. Got to be careful if you're sitting under the press box because the roof slants down towards the seats. We just saw that roll back into the stands, and an unassuming fan might get clonked to the back of the head. 0-2 now, the count to Robert Moya. Yohan Gonzalez trots out to the BCU bullpen. We may see him in short order. Moya takes a pitch upstairs by his head, 1-2. You could tell he was thinking about swinging at that one, too. The 1-2. Upstairs, Moya checks his swing again, 2-2. Time called by the home plate umpire. Oh, there's a stray ball at the backstop that home plate umpire Chris Booker is going to go collect and toss away into the dugout. He shrugs his shoulders like, I didn't know it was back there. Could cause potential confusion if a ball gets to the backstop. It can't be just chilling there. Count 2-2 on Moya. And Gonzalez deals, breaking ball. Strike 3 called on the outside corner. And Moya down on strikes.
Moya knew it there. That one just snuck in over the plate right at the end. Caught that outside corner.
We were talking in the break. Gonzalez approaching 70 pitches over 2 days of work and how long they would leave him in there. But if he gets another 1-2-3 inning, he's coming back out. Soufrain hits a towering fly ball first pitch to center field. Coming in is Melton, and he makes the catch quickly. 1-2-3 go the Wildcats. We go to the 8th inning of play. Wildcats still holding on to an 8-7 lead. We will likely leave you on 1380 WELE The Cat. One more time, if you want to listen to the end of the broadcast, go to youtube.com/Cat Eye Network to find the conclusion of this game. We'll be back with the 8th. This is BCU Baseball. Daniel Bannon leads off the top of the 8th. It's getting to be crunch time here at Rush Chandler Stadium at McNeese Baseball Park. First pitch, swing and a miss on a fastball low and away from Pablo Torres, who is approaching his longest outing of the season. But he has been kind of the steadying hand that the Wildcats have needed on the mound through these later innings. The 0-1, Bannon doesn't wave at that one in the exact same spot, 1-1.
Pablo Torres looked probably the best we've seen him this afternoon in the last frame. Finally got a 1-2-3.
Bannon 2 for 4 with a run scored and an RBI. Inside corner strike, and it's 1-2. Yohan Gonzalez, who pitched a little bit yesterday against Southern, is lazily throwing down in the left field bullpen for BCU. You would think if the Wildcats still have the lead after this half inning, it would be his 9th. Bannon chases one out of the zone but fouls it away, and it's still 1-2.
You know, we talked about it in one of the breaks, Mike. It just kind of has the feeling of a game when the Wildcats are down pretty big, but you still do hold the lead. The game is in your hands. Pablo Torres
This is
giving him a great chance.
This is a tough inning, though. Bannon, Hill, Atterbury, Mersman due up for Jackson State. Ball in the dirt, 2-2. But again, kind of like Gonzalez, and especially with a freshman like Pablo Torres, you wonder, how tired is that arm? How close is he to the end of his rope?
I think the command has actually gotten better the further along he's gotten into this outing.
The 2-2 to Bannon. Ripped up the middle, there's a base hit. Olison tracks it down to prevent it from being a double. But Bannon is aboard at another leadoff man on. Only 2 innings the leadoff man has not been aboard for Jackson State. And now Ty Hill, the dangerous top hitter for this Jackson State team, will bat, and that will be the end for Pablo Torres. So the message from Coach Hernandez was probably keep going, but if somebody gets on base, you're done.
It's kind of an interesting call. I still think Torres has thrown the ball pretty well. Nolan Gonzalez did get hit a little bit last night against Southern, but he is the closer. This is his job in these kinds of scenarios. We've seen him get 2 or 3 inning saves before. Wildcats are going to need him at his best here, especially trying to avoid contact.
Yohan Gonzalez is going to come in to try and get the 6th out save, which would be his 8th of the season. He trots in slowly from left field.
Nothing else, the velocity isn't going to relent any from Torres to Gonzalez. And we saw that fastball from Torres doing some pretty good work against the JSU order. Yohan Gonzalez is another guy who's going to pump it up there, 96, 97. Got a live arm.
Stay up to date with everything Bethune-Cookman Athletics by checking out the Wildcats on social media. Give BCU Athletics a like on Facebook and follow the Wildcats on Twitter and Instagram at BCU_athletics. For the latest on BCU baseball, follow at BCU Diamondcats on Twitter and at BCU Baseball on Instagram. Yohan Gonzalez takes over on the mound for Bethune-Cookman, trying to get a 6-out save and keep the Wildcats season alive. The senior from Santiago in the Dominican Republic. His numbers look like this. In 19 appearances, he's 5-2 with a 3.48 ERA and 7 saves. In 44 innings pitched, he's given up 18 runs on 40 hits, 17 earned. Striking out 59, walking 13. He's given up 2 homers, 1 triple, 10 doubles, and batters are batting .241 against him. But this is going to be a very difficult task with 1 on base already in the form of Daniel Bannon, nobody out, and Ty Hill, Marcus Atterbury, and Brett Mersman coming up the heart of the Jackson State order.
It's going to be up to Yohan Gonzalez to kind of maintain his control. Keep that ball, touch the corners with the fastball, challenge guys, particularly upstairs. He likes to go to the high fastball a lot. He's got breaking balls that can get him some swing and miss when he needs it. Important thing at this point is going to be limiting JSU contact, because when they've been able to hit the ball, at the very least, they've made it tough on the Wildcats defense. Nothing has been easy in this game.
Wildcats trying to make sure that game 55 on the season is not the end, and we will get a game 56 tomorrow against the loser of Grambling State and Southern. And I think you know as well as I do that these Wildcats would love another crack at the Jaguars if they get a chance.
I'm sure the Jaguars would like a chance to do it again as well. Start to get into rough territory from this point on if you can move on. Starting to talk about doubleheaders tomorrow, a doubleheader the next day if you were to continue to advance. It's getting a real crunch time. Going to really test the depths of your roster, the depths of your bullpen, the heart of your team. It takes a great baseball team with a great mentality to challenge out of the losers bracket from this point.
Here's Ty Hill. The Wildcats lead 8-7. Daniel Bannon, after the leadoff single, is aboard. He represents the tying run. Hill, the go-ahead run in the top of the 8th. Yohan Gonzalez on the mound. His first pitch is a breaking ball slider strike that catches the inside corner, and it's 0-1. Gonzalez with the dirty blonde hair flowing out of the back of that maroon baseball cap, the gold jersey, the white pants for Bethune-Cookman, the navy blue over gray for Jackson State. The second pitch is a slider that gets past Braceras and goes to the backstop. It's a wild pitch, which will allow Bannon to take second base.
It's a really tough break for BCU, but that again is why Yohan Gonzalez here needs to avoid contact. If you can at all costs avoid having the Tigers put the ball in play.
Because now a single ties the game. with the speedy Bannon on second.
You know how dangerous even a sacrifice fly to move the runner over would be. Jackson State just continues to make it tough.
Hill singled and scored in the first, singled in the second, fly to center in the fourth, and struck out in the fifth. Gonzalez deals. Breaking ball misses the zone low, 2-1. Yohan very slow. Going through his routine, not a fast pitcher at the best of times, but being even more deliberate now. The 2-1. Breaking ball catches the inside corner, 2-2.
Nice pitch right there. See what Gonzalez decides to go to try to get the first out of this inning. Always has that fastball in his back pocket.
Does he go to it here? The 1-2. Breaking ball, hammer to left, coming in, and it's not going to be caught by Pena. The tying run moves to third on a base hit by Ty Hill. And there's 2 on, nobody out for Marcus Atterbury.
You said it a couple breaks ago, Mike. This kind of has all the makings of a similar game that we saw from Southern yesterday. We've just seen more runs. The Wildcats offensively have just sputtered out after a great strong start. Relief corps just slowly been chipped at and chipped at. It's not over yet. Ball is still very well in your hands. Game is in your control, but it's going to be a long climb out with runners on the corners.
And nobody gone. Here's Atterbury. Singled and scored in the first. Walked in the fourth. Flied out to center in the second. And singled in the sixth. So 3 hits on the day for Atterbury. He swears to bunt. The pitch is inside and low. Ball 1. I'm surprised we aren't seeing the Wildcats infield play in on the grass.
Saw the runner start to kind of dart towards home plate there on the bunt.
The wind whipping out as a strike goes by the bunting bat of Atterbury, 1-1. It was pretty consistently going left to right. Now the wind just swirling around out there. The American flag being pushed in all directions in left center. Gonzalez deals. Hit in the air, foul. First base side out of play. 1-2 the count. How big would a strikeout be here? It feels like Gonzalez needs a couple.
Contact has just been so dangerous all day long.
Gonzalez ahead in the count, 1-2. Here's the pitch. Hit high in the air, foul. That'll make the seats first base side. We'll do the 1-2 once again. Once again, the 1-2. Swung on, chopped slowly to third. On to second for safe. They tried to get the lead runner as Bannon scores to tie the game. Hill is safe at second after a kind of a lazy throw by Tuero. And it's first and second, nobody out, and it's 8-8. And here comes Brent Bursman.
Tuero kind of tried to sell out there for the double play, trying to take 2 for the 1 run, which if that ball was hit with a little more pace may have been worth the take right there. But now even more dangerous. You've got a runner in scoring position, another one behind him, still nobody out.
Brett Mersman was waiting to enter the batter's box. The home plate umpire ushers him in. Now 2 on, nobody out, tie game. Gonzalez, a fastball upstairs misses, and it's 1-0 to Mersman. Brett Mersman singled in the first, singled and scored in the third, singled in the fourth, and flied out to center in the sixth. Excuse me, to left in the sixth. Gonzalez deals. Breaking ball finds the outside corner, 1-1. It is all so slow and deliberate from Gonzalez. There is no rhythm to his game at the moment.
Just feels like postseason baseball. Two teams want to try to keep their season alive.
The 1-1. Swung and grounded foul into the Jackson State dugout. 1-2.
It's just so tough. These Wildcat bats have shown little to no fight in the last few innings, but it's going to be another long sit for Gonzalez on the bench. Who knows, may still be in for some magic.
That's Eric Gonzalez. We're talking about the Jackson State reliever. This is Yohan Gonzalez on the mound. He fires. Mersman fouls it off into the Jackson State bench again. And actually a really nice leaping grab barehanded by somebody down there in the JSU bench. That was Austin Campbell, a relief pitcher. Once again, the 1-2. Gonzalez checks the runner and fires, swinging another foul back. There has been nothing easy for the maroon and gold today.
Mersman had another at-bat like this earlier in the game that ended up resulting in a base hit. Just can't sneak anything by these Jackson State hitters.
That was in the 6th that eventually amounted to nothing, but just working. The 1-2. Swung on, chopped towards second. This could be 2. Olison to second for 1. Back to first. There's no play. So a fielder's choice. Atterbury out at second. Mersman reaches on the fielder's choice. And Ty Hill goes to third. Runner 90 feet away with 1 out. And here's Miles White. White hit by a pitch in the first. Walked in the third. Struck out in the 4th and 6th.
That was just another one of those slow bouncing grounders that in real time, probably against most hitters in this JSU order, wouldn't have a chance to get Mersman down at first. Not a guy with a ton of speed. Olson makes the right call not to make the play and risk throwing it away.
Now runners on the corners, 1 down. Gonzalez's first pitch, Miles White took a huge hack at it and missed. And it's 0-1.
Gonzalez is getting some swing and misses against the Tigers right now, but they're just not coming when there's 2 strikes in the count. He can't put them away.
Braceras is going to call a play. Steps out in front of home base. And let's see what the defense does here. No movement on the defensive side for Bethune-Cookman. Soufrain holding the runner at third. Here's the pitch. Or should we do it at first? Strike on the outside corner, 0-2 as White watches that one go by. It's a tie game in the top of the 8th. Jackson State looks set to take the lead with a runner on third and run out. Gonzalez deals the 0-2, tried to get a swing and miss at a high fastball, and it's 1-2.
Really need to see a strikeout pitch from Gonzalez. Hasn't quite settled on what's going to be today, what he's been going to. Kind of seen a mixed bag of off-speed and fastball.
White chokes up on the bat. Gonzalez deals. It's strike 3 called on the outside corner, but the throw down to second to try and get the stealing Mersman goes into center field, and Jackson State has the lead as Ty Hill walks home. Disaster for BCU.
I think Braceras regretted making the throw as soon as he chucked it. Colton Olson just has to sit on it, not risk further damage.
I'll call that an E2 as Braceras' throw went into center field, and for the first time since the top of the first inning, Jackson State has the lead 9-8. There's 2 away in the inning. And here's Omar Gomez swinging to chop it back to the screen, 0-1. Gomez singled in the first, was caught in double play. Grounded out in the third, walked in the 4th, grounded out in the 6th. With Brett Mersman on second and 2 down. Although the scoreboard still shows 1 out, there are 2 outs, I'm pretty sure. Because I got the fielder's choice, and then the other field. Oh no, because the first fielder's choice he was safe. There is only 1 out. Pitch from Gonzalez. And Gomez fouls it away. Hold on. I think there should be 2 outs because one of the fielder's choices was Atterbury.
There's the fielder's choice and strike 3 called. Just
yeah,
now,
and then
right?
the strike 3 called on my what? There should be 2 outs. The scoreboard here only shows 1 out. The 0-2. Poked into right field. Highland Hall tracks it and makes the catch. And that's it. 2 runs, 2 hits, 1 left. And it's magic time again for Bethune-Cookman. They trail 9-8 with 6 outs to go. 6 outs to save their season here on the Cat Eye Network. The Wildcats have 6 outs to save their season, down 9-8 in a game they led 8-3. Eric Gonzalez has been spectacular on the mound. And it'll be Colton Olison to lead off the bottom of the 8th against Gonzalez. Curveball, ball 1, misses inside.
We just worried about this a little bit with the Wildcats after that last game against Jackson State last weekend. 3 runs in the first and nothing again until the 7th.
There's a strike, fastball down the middle, 1-1 to Colton Olison. Olison struck out in the first, doubled in the second, flied to left, in the 5th. Hits one high in the air to center field. Melton, 3 steps back, makes the catch, 1 away. And now here is George Braceras. Line to second in the first, struck out in the second, was hit by a pitch and then picked off to end the inning in the 5th. And the Wildcats look like they may have something going.
Just been some uncharacteristic mental errors by the Wildcats on all phases of the game today.
First pitch to Braceras in the dirt, 1-0. And I guess the best case scenario for BCU is you could somehow get Gonzalez out of there, but there's nobody warming up in the Jackson State pen. It is his game. Strike, breaking ball, hits the top outside corner to the righty, 1-1. Wildcats 8 runs in the first 2 innings, 1 hit since. Gonzalez, big loping breaking ball again. And it's 2-1. Maybe that's the best pitch he's got left if his arm is tired and the fastball is not clicking. The 2-1, it is a fastball, but he gets Braceras to swing through it, and it's 2-2.
Generally, when you see these pitchers start to get tired towards the end of these games, it's the control that goes before the velocity, but we really haven't seen a ton of drop-off in control, save for an odd pitch here or there.
The 2-2, swing and a grounder up the middle. There's a base hit for Braceras. The Wildcats have a runner aboard. And now Jeremy Garcia bats in maybe the biggest at-bat of his season.
Garcia's had some success today for the first time in a few weekends.
Led off the second with a single and scored on a balk. Flied to right in the 3rd, then singled in the 5th and was stranded. With 1 down and Braceras on first. Tried to bunt, and that breaking ball was so wicked that all he could do was push it foul. And it's 0-1.
Surprised maybe we're not thinking about a pinch runner for Braceras, but I guess that goes back to the injury we saw to Irvin Escobar yesterday. Just might not be feeling well enough to get back in this game, and so that means Braceras.
Who catches? Braceras is out. The 0-1. Big looping breaking ball misses outside to the lefty, 1-1.
That pitch is just primed for disaster, but he's done a good job of keeping it just off the plate.
The 1-1 fastball misses way off the plate. You can see Gonzalez maybe wincing a little bit after that pitch. There is somebody now up and throwing in the Jackson State bullpen. Of course, that is their bullpen is perfectly behind a pole from where we are, so we can't see who that is. The 2-1 hit off the end of the bat. It will be foul into the seats. Count holds. Now count goes to 2-2. Coming up next on the other side of the bracket after this game, it's the winners game in the upper bracket with Alabama State and Florida A&M playing for Eastern Division superiority. The 2-2. Grounded to short. This could be a double play. On to second for one. Oh, no! The transition falls out of the hands of Gomez, and everybody's safe.
Kind of a lazy approach there by Gomez. Mishandled the ball, mishandled the transfer from the glove to the throwing hand. Was just kind of toss it over to second.
Are we going to call that a fielder's choice on the run? I think I would.
I think it has to be.
So fielder's choice. And now there's 2 on, 1 out. And they are going to get a pinch runner now. Here is
It's going to be Frankie Feblis. Interesting to see now what we do at the catching spot. Could potentially see Feblis go into the outfield. Boris Pena take over at the plate. That's assuming Escobar doesn't feel up to going. I haven't seen him today.
Has he not been the bullpen catcher?
He has been down there a little bit, but I haven't seen him in a traditional crouch. He's just kind of been over there poking around. I do see him standing up in the dugout.
Top of the order now. Here's Luis Tuero with 2 on and 1 out in the 8th. Wildcats down 9-8. Season on the line. First pitch to him. Way outside, 1-0.
Escobar does appear to be stretching and maybe putting on some gear in the dugout, but let's focus on getting there first.
Tuero, 2 walks and 2 pop-ups in the game today. Second pitch upstairs, 2-0. He did score both in the first and second, the 2 times he walked.
Got to stay patient here. Prove that Gonzalez still has enough in the tank here to throw strikes.
2-0, I would be taking all the way here. Eric Gonzalez from the stretch. Now he turns on one and fouls it back to the screen, 2-1.
Tuero visibly upset with the contact there. Kind of shouted at himself right after he made the swing. Maybe thought that was a better pitch to put in play.
High drama here in Atlanta. The 2-1 to Tuero. In play, base hit to center field. Rounding third and coming home is the runner. He is out at the plate. Frankie Feblis is called out. He believes he's safe. The coaching staff believe he's safe. Will we see a third replay review in the contest? Coach Hernandez comes out to talk to the home plate umpire.
Feblis was raised around by Jose Carballo down there at third. I think he snuck a hand in there. We'll see what they have left to do.
I don't think we have a challenge, though, because we've already challenged and lost.
Could be a backbreaker for the Wildcats, but still only 1 out. You've got a runner in scoring position.
They are going to talk about it. I'm not sure if they can review it.
The officials could call their official review if they thought it was worthwhile. It just wouldn't technically be a coach's challenge.
They are going to go to a review. For the 3rd time in the game, we're going to go to a review.
That is an official review. The Wildcats catch a break there. Apparently that conversation is enough.
The Wildcats have lost the previous 2 reviews, both on pickoffs. Right now it's a single, and Tuero potentially has the game-tying RBI if Feblis is safe. Again, the throw was in time. It was a little bit offline to the right. We shall see. Here comes the throw to the plate. When the throw gets to the catcher, Feblis isn't even in the frame. He dives. He's out.
Ooh, I think he's in, Mike.
No.
It's tough to see because the official's a little bit in the way. We'll see if there's any other angle. I think the initial point where his hand hits the ground is on the plate. before the hand gets in.
Again, we've lost 2 challenges that have been close already. I don't think we're going to win this one because the call on the field is out.
It's that official standing in the way just in front. We've got an outfield angle on it, but I'm not sure we're going to get enough zoom on it to where we're going to be able to see the play.
But from that angle, it looks way out.
It's just impossible to tell from there.
So I don't think he's going to be safe. I think there's going to be 2 outs, and Highland Hall's going to have to, or Garrett Chun's going to have to pull some magic.
There's still just, oh, well, that would be the second out, but there's still a runner in scoring position. It's not impossible just yet. Oh, he's in.
Oh,
he's in.
That is that
angle
last
shows
angle from center field showed it is closer than I originally thought.
He's in. I don't think he got him on the arm. I think the initial tag came down on the back, and Feblis's hand was already in.
This is the biggest call of the season. Remember, the call on the field is out. They have to have enough evidence to overturn the call, which even with that last angle, I'm still skeptical.
Like we said, Feblis's initial dive, he didn't hit the ground. The first thing that hit the ground was his hand. Snuck in there. I think the question now might be, was there a tag applied on the arm, or maybe was it not hit until he got him on the back? If he missed the arm, Feblis is safe. If they think they got the arm, that's where your call could go either way.
We are waiting for the officials. Chris Booker and Augustus Griffin are the ones looking at the replay review. They're showing this angle from beyond center field again.
It's the best angle we've got at
Dives, left hand in, and it all depends on when that hand touches the plate versus when the glove touches like the shoulder
it's one of those
Frankie Feblis.
Could unfortunately end up in just not enough evidence.
They are taking a very long time to look at this. The Wildcats season on the line. Luis Chuero hit a base hit to center field. The relay got to the plate in time. Here come the umpires. Walking out to the plate, he is out. Again, not enough evidence to overturn the call, and there are 2 away.
Curious, we've seen Malik Stevens as that pinch runner consistently throughout the season. Probably the fastest guy on this Wildcats roster. I'd be interested to see
why they went to Feblis.
Why the decision was to go to Frankie Feblis.
And now with 2 outs and 2 on, here's Garrett Chun. Chun doubled in Luis Chuero in the first and scored on the home run by Hall. Then bunted, sacrifice style in the second, lined out to right field in the third, and then walked and was picked off at first in the 6th. Once again, we play in the top of the 8th. Bethune-Cookman down 9-8. They at one point led this game 8-3. Runners on second and first with 2 down. The first pitch was outside for a ball. Gonzalez deals. Ball low, 2-0.
Get a lot of what ifs, still thinking about that play at the plate. Wonder if Feblis maybe didn't try to go on the outside edge and sneak his hand in if he doesn't get in.
I thought it was a crazy wave around with the ball already coming back to the infield. But again, you just have to make these snap decisions. The 2-0 in the dirt, 3-0.
Gonzalez
once again,
still been vulnerable.
Once again, we question how much does Eric Gonzalez has left. He's approaching 100 pitches over 2 days of work. He is their best arm out of the bullpen, and he has shut down the Wildcats for the most part in the back half of this game.
Chun will be taken all the way here at 3-0.
Here is the 3-0. Missed his spot outside, ball 4, and the Wildcats have loaded the bases with 2 away.
Gonzalez is maybe just about out of gas, but this is it for Jackson State. This is your guy. Similarly to the Wildcats at this phase in the tournament, although we do have Jackson State head coach is going to come out. We may see a call to the bullpen just to shake it up. But
Highland Hall will bat with Jeremy Garcia on third, Luis Chuero on second, and Garrett Chun on first. 2 outs, bottom of the 8th. Wildcats down by 1. Nike is the official outfitter of the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Gear up on the newest BCU Nike gear at nike.com/Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Bryce, I can't imagine potentially 3 more days of this. This is insane.
It's been a grueling tournament, and it's only the second day.
Gonzalez is staying in the game.
I think that's It's such a tough call if you're Jackson State to make. I think you kind of have to ride with this guy just of how volatile the rest of that bullpen can be.
So Highland Hall, we've seen him be aggressive at the plate, sometimes overly aggressive at the plate. I think he has to take a couple, just make him throw strikes, because a walk ties the game just as well as a base hit would.
Yep, and Gonzalez has finally started to show some vulnerability. Make him throw strikes.
Highland Hall, the newcomer of the year in the SWAC, transferred in from Washington State, a Central Florida kid through and through, played high school ball at Ocoee. The first pitch to him is a line drive into left field. There's a base hit. 1 run scores. Here comes the throw to the plate. They hold Luis Tuero at third. Jeremy Garcia scores, and we've got a tie ball game again.
Luis Tuero thought he might try to score 2, slammed on the brakes when Carballo gave him the sign to stop. Bases are still loaded. Finally, the Wildcats have shown some grit. Looks like we may finally have a pitching change for Jackson State, but this is such a welcome sight for BCU, for Coach Hernandez.
Oh, my goodness.
Show goes on.
My hands are shaking so much I barely was able to write that hit down on my scorecard.
These are two teams that just want it so bad. Again, that's a credit to the Wildcats. Our message before the game and the message from Coach Hernandez to his team before the game: this game is in your hands. I have no doubt that he's been preaching the same message as we've come to the plate with these final few outs. Guys, if you want to keep playing, it's time to show up. We've seen a lot of rough innings, a lot of quick pitches, a lot of quick outs. This is your ball game. A lot of your professional careers are on the line. There's guys who will go home today if you head home, and that's it for your professional career. That's it for your collegiate career. Your baseball career is over. If you want to keep playing, it's time to show up. And so far, the Wildcats have done just that, but we've still got a long way to go.
Gerald Bess, Luis Lipthrat, Alec Mendez, Brian Perez, Malik Stevens, and Darius York were the guys that BCU honored on Senior Day, will not be here next year. I'm sure none of them are in the game right now, but I'm sure they are cheering their teammates on. They don't want their careers to end. Who do we have right now? We have a new pitcher. It's a left-hander. I'm trying to see who it is for Jackson State. I think
it's like maybe
Brandon Haston.
Wildcats had some success off Haston last weekend. He took the loss in the Friday game.
So he gave up the Moya home run.
He did. He pitched 2/3. He allowed the 3 earned runs on a pair of hits. Didn't walk anybody, but did hit a batter. Another one of these Jackson State guys can just be a little wild.
And I believe he also pitched on Thursday and gave up a couple. I'm not sure. That's just memory. You're the one with the computer.
I think you're correct, Mike. I think he was one of the first relief arms, and we were stunned to see him back-to-back. We did. He was the first reliever out of the pen, the only reliever they needed on that Thursday. He pitched an inning, allowed a run. It was unearned. 2 hits, struck out 1, didn't walk anybody. But just at this point, if you're the Jackson State coaching staff, you're hoping that just a change of pace is going to disrupt the Wildcats at this point, because the reality is Gonzalez had nothing left. He gave it his all on the mound, and he was great, but he ran out of gas.
Here is Haston's numbers. While I do that, I'm going to ask Bryce to look up the line score for Gonzalez. Boris Pena's got a bat. I'll quickly go through Haston's numbers. He's 1-3 in 21 appearances with 3 starts, a 9.17 ERA. In 35 and a third innings, he's given up 40 runs on 46 hits, 36 earned. Striking out 40 and walking just 18. So he's a guy that has a fair amount of control statistically.
Just didn't see it last weekend against the Wildcats, and he's probably not thrilled about having to see this team again, especially given the circumstances. But again, preaching patience.
Tie game at 9 in the 8th. Bases loaded, 2 out. Boris Pena can give the Wildcats the lead. But I think you got to be patient here. Make him throw strikes, even though it's a new pitcher. Haston, the lefty, from the stretch. First pitch is low, ball 1. If I am Boris Pena, I ain't taking the bat off the shoulder until I see a 1 in the strike column on the scoreboard.
Exactly right. I am not offering until I see something in the zone.
The wind's still whipping left to right. Haston deals. Pena fouls it away. And every time we say take till you get 1, the Wildcats don't do it. So, again, we're up here with the headsets just talking. We can't control what they see down there and what they do down there.
It's funny, it's kind of the opposite with Jackson State. Every time I hear contact off the bat, I cringe because it could drop in. For the Wildcats, I'm worried it's going to be an out.
The count is 1-1. Bases loaded, 2 outs. The delivery. Swing and a miss from Pena, 1-2. That was a fastball at the knees, a really beautiful pitch.
And quickly, just like that, you put Hassan in the driver's seat. That's a great pitch. But an even bigger one here for him.
Haston winds and fires. Swing and a drive towards center field and deep. Going back, Melton. He's at the track. He makes the catch. We go to the 9th, tied at 9. Boris Pena was maybe 2 or 3 feet away from giving the Wildcats the lead. He went for the fences and just missed it. 9 runs, 14 hits, 1 error for Jackson State. 9 runs, 11 hits, 1 error for Bethune-Cookman. It's like penalty kicks in soccer now, Bryce. Each team gets a chance. You either make it or you don't. We'll be back in 60 seconds. This is BCU Baseball on the Cat Eye Network. Ninth inning, here we go. Season on the line for both the Jackson State Tigers and the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. First to the plate is Omar Gomez. Singled in the first, caught in a double play. Grounded out in the third, grounded out in the 6th, and walked in the 4th for Gomez. Oh, no, excuse me. This is Marshall Louise at the plate. Louise grounded into that double play, and he grounds one towards Olison on the first pitch. Olison hops and fires, and he gets one. 1 down in the inning.
It's not going to be a question of who wants it more at this point, but who's better in delivering in this huge moment.
Marshall Louise has grounded to Olison twice. He's popped out twice, and he hit him with a double play, which was started by Olison. So Olison's getting tired of seeing him up to the plate. Stop hitting at me. Here's the 9-hole hitter, Cesar Saavedra. First pitch to him, strike. Nice frame job by Escobar. Saavedra popped out in the 2nd, flied out to center in the 3rd, singled and scored in the 5th, grounded out to short in the 7th. Breaking pitch misses the zone from Yohan Gonzalez. Hopefully with renewed vigor on the mound now after the Wildcats tied the game in the bottom of the 8th. Swing and a soft chopper toward 3rd. Hard charging Tuero, throws to first, it gets by Sufrain and into right field. It's going to be an error on Tuero as Saavedra takes 2nd.
The Wildcats are fortunate we're not playing at Jackie Robinson Ballpark. There's a lot less space along the foul lines here. If this is the Jack, he may go 3.
And now the potential winning run is on 2nd with 1 down, and the top of the order up for Jackson State. Disaster for BCU there.
Luis Tuero just a couple of times today has tried to make some plays and just come out on the wrong end. Just have to settle in. That's all you can do at this point.
The potential winning run in the form of Cesar Saavedra on 2nd. Here's Melton. Walked and scored in the 1st, flied to center in the 2nd, singled and scored in the 4th, grounded out to 2nd in the 5th, lined out to 2nd in the 7th. First pitch, a ball on the outside.
We know Irvin Escobar's knee wasn't feeling great coming into the game today. Don't imagine it's easy out there. Probably won't see him playing with the same kind of limberness to him. Probably laboring a little bit. Makes it tough if anything is to squeak to the backstop. He's going to try to gut it out.
The 1-0 from Gonzalez. Breaking ball hit hard to center field and deep. Going back to the track, to the wall. It's over the head of Chun and one hops the wall. Melton rounds second. He's going to go to third. Scoring from second on the RBI triple is Cesar Saavedra, and Jackson State has the lead again. It's 10-9.
We know, Mike, this game is still far from over. Long way to go for both sides, but you just go back to that error by Tuero, and again, this whole day for the Wildcats in large part has been a disaster. We saw the 2 pickoffs. We saw some ill-advised attempts to score by Frankie Febles. We've seen the errors. It all piles up and give Jackson State life.
And now, with one away, another run on third. First pitch to Bannon low. Bannon grounded out in the first, singled in the second, doubled in the fourth, singled in the eighth, and scored in the fourth and the eighth, did Bannon. The Bannon run is what tied the game in the eighth inning. At that point, 9-9. Bannon swings and misses at a breaking ball, 1-1. You would give Jackson State maybe the advantage in this scenario because they played a game very similar to this last night. Pokes up the middle, base hits. Bannon turns and pumps his fist at his dugout as Melton scores. It's 11-9.
Now with the 2-run lead, Jackson State crowd wants it. Everybody's fired up. They can feel it, but the Jackson State relief staff is still a little bit questionable.
Now, you don't want to let him get too far ahead. Here is Ty Hill. Hill, 3 singles and 2 runs scored in the game. 11-9 Jackson State. First pitch, a ball high. Nobody working in the Bethune-Cookman bullpen. This is Yohan Gonzalez is to finish no matter how it finishes. Breaking ball low. 2-0. You think if they have to go to somebody quickly, who is there? Yoanzel Diaz, maybe? Luis Lipthrat, fastball outside corner, 2-1.
Unless this goes to extras, I don't think we will see anybody. I'd expect it would probably be Lipthrat if for whatever reason the game does continue.
Gonzalez winds and fires. Outside and low, 3-1. You've just seen Yohan Gonzalez. He got that first pitch out on Marshall Louise, and then it's just been downhill since. An error, a triple, and a single has given Jackson State 2 runs and an 11-9 lead. Breaking ball, upstairs, ball 4.
And the body language out there for the Wildcats has just changed so dramatically. A lot of slumped shoulders, maybe none more so than Yohan Gonzalez. Really just laboring with every pitch, trying to just get through this one.
Somebody just trotted out to the bullpen for BCU.
Yohansel Diaz is going to head out there.
Here's Marcus Atterbury with 2 on and 1 out. The pitch. Fastball, strike on the inside corner, 0-1. Atterbury singled and scored in the first, flied to center in the second, walked and was stranded on third in the fourth, singled in the sixth, reached on a fielder's choice in the eighth. Ground ball to the right side. Olesen has the ball bounce off his chest and everybody's safe.
Olesen tried to look back the runners over at second and third to prevent anybody from scoring. I think he still may have had a play on that ball at first, but didn't even look that direction. Would have been close, but.
And now the bases are loaded for Brett Mersman. Mersman singled in the first, stranded on third, singled and scored in the third, singled in the fourth, stranded on second, flied to left in the sixth, and then reached on a fielder's choice in the eighth. So 3 hits for Mersman, but now with the bases loaded and 1 down.
You would at least expected the Wildcats defense to be the thing to let you down today.
Gonzalez's first pitch, called strike 1 at the letters outside. The mountain to climb just gets higher and higher for Bethune-Cookman. The 0-1, upstairs 1-1. As win number 30 slips further and further away from this BCU Wildcat squad. Gonzalez is 1-1. Breaking ball finds the zone, 1-2. The winner of this game awaits the loser of Grambling State and Southern. That game played at 6 p.m. tonight. Outside, 2-2. Bases loaded, 1 out, top of the ninth. Jackson State already 2 in the inning, leads 11-9. They have hit the ball 17 times today off the Wildcat pitching staff. Gonzalez deals, ground ball to Olison, and he dropped it. He throws to second. And the runner is out at second. And he's out at first for interference. It's a double play on interference call, and the inning is over.
Wildcats get a miracle of a break. Now it's up to them to take advantage.
Marcus Atterbury out 4-6, and then the transition throw by Garcia, he couldn't get the ball away because he was interfered with. Massive call. The Wildcats 3 outs away from the end of the season, down by 2. We'll be back for the final frame of this one on the Cat Eye Network. One inning, 2 runs to tie, 3 runs to win. Wildcats in the bottom of the ninth with the season on the line, down 11-9 in a game that has had everything, Bryce, everything. But the Wildcats seem to be on the losing end of it. Can they turn it around? Do they have one more miracle in them? Here's Robert Moya to lead off against Brandon Haston, who came in to get the last out of the 8th. First pitch, swing and a miss from Moya in the dirt.
It's the kind of swing you don't need to be going for right there. A homer's not going to do you much good. Just got to get on base. Just stay patient.
The 0-1. Haston waits. Now he throws it. Ball outside. The Jackson State crowd wanted that to be strike 2. Now the 1-1 to Moya. Breaking ball misses low. 2-1. I think the best case scenario for the Wildcats is if this inning starts to get away from Haston. The 2-1. Swing and a foul back. 2-2. Moya was way out in front of that one and just got a piece of it.
If you remember back in the game that Haston was the unfortunate guy who saw the game end off the bat of Robert Moya, beginning the 9th inning with a ground out. Garrett Chun singled. Boris Pena was hit by a pitch. And then, of course, the home run. So the Wildcats have seen this before.
Moya swings, fouls it away. He is swinging for the fences every time he takes the bat off his shoulder.
Just got to get on base. It's not his game to win.
Moya taps the pine tar laden helmet, steps back in. Haston delivers. Breaking ball. Not chased by Moya. 3-2. Payoff. Delivered by Haston. Moya swings, fouls it back. We'll do it again.
Got to expand the strike zone. That ball's probably a little bit inside, but fights it off to stay alive. Don't want to get called out looking here, especially not for the first out.
For the first time all week, the wind is now blowing left to right. Funnily enough. Here's the 3-2 again. Low. Moya walks, slams his bat down, trots to first.
It's a great at bat from Robert Moya. Started off kind of thought I'd see what we've been accustomed to see. A lot of big swings, a lot of kind of swinging for the fences, but buckles in and works the walk.
Here's Manny Soufrain. He hit .284 in the regular season. 3 homers, 27 RBIs. Moya on first, nobody out, bottom 9. Cats down 2. First pitch to him in the dirt, ball 1. Just be patient at the plate. Don't take any wild swings. Play within yourself. Has to be the message to every platter going to the plate from Coach Hernandez. The 1-0 in the dirt, 2-0. Haston, you can tell, is feeling the pressure, feeling the moment.
It's a tough spot for him. You've seen it go the other way already just in the last week.
This is the game that breaks the season series between the Wildcats and the Tigers. They split, taking 3 games apiece in the regular season.
Just so
and now,
tense.
Game 7. This has felt like a Game 7 playoff game. It's Game 7 this season between these two teams. We were talking with the Jackson State media guys before this, and he said Game 7.
Game 7.
It is Game 7 feel. The catcher, Louise, just walked out to Haston, try and settle him down. The count is 2 balls and no strikes with Moya on first and the Wildcats down by 2 runs. Soufrain taps his bat on the ground, wanders back into the left-handed batter's box. The home plate umpire, Chris Booker, points to Brandon Haston, and the lefty delivers. Slow breaking ball, doesn't break enough, misses upstairs, 3-0 the count. You can't swing here if you're Soufrain. We've harped on it all season long. Haston winds and fires a 3-0. It's skipped to the plate. 2 straight walks to begin the inning, and now it's going to be Colton Olison.
Taken all the way for Soufrain right there. No shot was he taking the bat off his shoulders there. Colton Olison, until I see strike 1, not sure I'm swinging either.
Dalen Caraway is warming up in the Jackson State bullpen. We saw him last weekend too. And we're going to have a pinch runner. Interestingly for Soufrain and not Moya, who's the lead runner.
I think Moya's a little bit speedier than Soufrain. I also think it's interesting. It's going to be Malik Stevens, who's going to be your pinch runner, but kind of brings you back to the Frankie Feblas decision. I think Stevens is faster. Again, we don't get to see every practice. Yeah. I'm not sure how it compares on paper.
And now we're going to get a mound visit from Jackson State. But I think to play devil's advocate, right, you take Soufrain out so you still have Moya in the lineup if this potentially goes to extra innings. And you could put Moya at first potentially. You could bring Pena from left field to first and do some things interesting that way. So I think that is the correct decision.
I'm going to see if it's going to get a chance to pay off that bottom of the BCU order. Colton Olison, we harken back all the way to the beginning of the season. Game 2, Game 3, both against Lehigh, back-to-back walk-offs for Olison. He's got the clutch in him. No bigger spot than this one in this season, maybe in his career.
And everybody, is Louise a new pitcher? I'm not sure. Yes, we do have a new pitcher. Haston is done. We will go to a 5th pitcher for Haston. Comes in, pitches a 1/3 of an inning technically, gets 1 out, walks 2. And on the mound now to try and close this out for the Tigers is Dalen Caraway, the junior from Houston, Texas.
Saw Caraway just 1 inning last weekend. Struck out 2, did not allow a hit. Only threw 9 pitches in an inning of work.
Really, I thought we'd have seen him more last week, but Apparently not.
It was just clear there that Hassan was seeing a few too many flashbacks from last weekend and just could not will the ball into the strike zone.
Here are the numbers on Caraway. In 28 appearances, he's 3-0, no saves, a 6.70 ERA. In 48 and a third innings pitched, he's given up 39 runs on 46 hits, 36 earned, walking 38 and striking out 47. He's allowed 6 homers, 2 triples, 6 doubles, and opponents are batting .258 against him. The pressure ratchets up. 2 on, nobody out, and now Colton Olson comes to the plate as the potential winning run if all 3 cross the plate.
Still just have to stay patient. It's going to be a new arm. It's going to be a new look. Hopefully.
The approach has to be the same, though, because we've seen this Jackson State crew, other than Eric Gonzalez, struggle to find the strike zone. I'm trying to see how many walks the Wildcats have had today. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 walks today for the Wildcats.
Just got to keep the train moving at this point. Again, you don't need to try to win it in one swing. There's no outs in this ball game. Colton Olson, the leader of this team all year, on and off the field, looking for some redemption after a rough inning in the field.
Last year, Dalen Caraway was at New Mexico Community College, only pitched in 4 games. Obviously, his role much expanded this year for Jackson State. Originally from Houston, Texas.
Can have all the control in the world, all the stuff in the world, but nothing's going to prepare you for this moment.
Here's Olson, the right-hander, with Moya on second and Stevens pitch running at first. First pitch. He squares to bunt, pulls it back, strike called, 0-1. Not a bad idea. But with Moya on third, maybe they go for the lead, or on second, maybe on a bunt attempt, maybe Jackson State tries to go for the lead runner, who knows.
Worst case scenario is the double play.
They're playing the bunt really close as the first baseman, Mersman, was in front of the pitcher almost when that pitch was thrown. The ball is high. Olson showed bunt again, trying to probably put it down the third baseline. It's going to be a 1-1 count. Mersman creeps in again. He shows bunt. He pulls it back. It's a ball outside. And he didn't swing, says the first base umpire. 2-1.
That was a really close call. Olson was just inches away from offering at that ball.
Caraway at the belt. Deals again. Olson squares to bunt, pulls it back, ball in the dirt. 3-1.
Patience, patience, patience. Again, Caraway's numbers may not look particularly bad in the walk department, but the pressure is immense, even with the 2-run lead.
Irvin Escobar, who is hurt, is on deck, trying to struggle through it. Olson takes ball 4 upstairs. 3 straight walks to open the inning, and here comes Escobar. Here are Irvin Escobar's numbers since he hasn't batted today. .299 his batting average, 21 runs on 32 hits, 3 homers, 25 RBIs. Has been up in clutch spots before. I remember the FIU game. Almost won the Wildcats that one in the 9th. First pitch to him. Inside, almost hit him. Ball 1.
Just keep the train moving. It doesn't have to be Irvin's ball game to win. Doesn't have to be his game to tie. Long way to go.
Escobar, the recipient of the pitch, is high, 2-0.
We saw this similar thing from Yohan Gonzalez earlier in this game. Caraway's just trying to nibble. He doesn't want anything over the plate because he's worried where it might end up in play. Take advantage.
The 2-0. Down the middle, strike 1. No offer from Escobar. You knew he was just going to take until he got 1, and now the at-bat really starts. The worst thing the Wildcats could do is ground into a double play here. Here's the pitch. No swing, ball inside, 3-1.
You got to figure Escobar's still banged up a little bit with the knee. Probably not first looking to swing here unless he gets a pitch to hit.
Moya Kind of sneak home from third. Here's the pitch. It's down the middle. It's a grounder. Bear! Base hit! Right-hand side! 1 run scores! Here comes Malik Stevens to the plate. The relay is not in time! It's not in time! It's not in time! Tie game! 11-11! It's a 2 RBI single for Irvin Escobar! Clutch man, fire it up! And we got a tie game! Still no outs in the ninth and the winning run on third!
I guess, Mike, that's redemption for that FIU game way back when. Irvin Escobar gets the chance to come up huge in the clutch. We see the decision to go to Malik Stevens as the pinch runner pay off as that trailing runner. There's not another Wildcat on this bench that makes it home on that play. Tie ball game.
Colton Olesen at third base, the potential winning run. Who is batting right now? Is it
Jeremy Garcia?
Jeremy Garcia? I'm struggling to keep up on my scorecard. The tension is so big. It's 1-0 to Garcia after the first pitch. The second one is in the dirt. It bounces away, but it's kept in front by Louise. Olesen is a guy that will race home if the ball gets to the backstop. This is the game to end all ball games. Tie game, bottom 9. Still nobody out. Count 2-0. To Jeremy Garcia. Here's the pitch. It's way outside, 3-0. The top of the order, Tuero, Chun, Hall, Pena, Moya, licking their lips on deck.
Wildcats have silenced this once raucous crowd.
A game that has itching toward 4 hours long. Upstairs, ball 4, bases juiced again.
Here comes the JSU manager one more time.
There's somebody warming up in the bullpen really quick. Let me see who that is. It is Christian Womble?
Yesterday's starting pitcher, Christian Womble.
Wow, he threw over 100 pitches yesterday. Do we see him?
No call to him yet. That is unbelievable. We've seen some SWAC managers run some guys really deep into ball games. We've seen 130 pitches
Caraway's
plus.
still in the game. They're leaving Caraway in to face Luis Tuero. Bases juiced. Nobody out. Moya walked. Sufrain walked. Olesen walked. Irvin Escobar had a 2 RBI double to tie the game. And then Garcia walked. And now it's Luis Tuero. The game on his bat. Still nobody out. A fly ball could get it done with Olesen's speed at third. Or a walk. You got to be cognizant of that too. The Jackson State bullpen has walked 4 guys in this inning. A walk wins the game for BCU as well. It's not very dramatic, but it will get the job done.
Say, this game's been far too dramatic for that, Mike.
First pitch. Strike called outside corner, 0-1. Tuero walked and scored in the first, walked and scored in the second, popped up to third in the third, popped up to short in the sixth, and singled. A swings and misses, strike 2, singled in the 8th. He had the RBI single that brought Jeremy Garcia home to make it 9-8 in the 8th. The count 0-2 on Tuero. Caraway deals way outside off the plate, looking for a chase. 1-2. Can Tuero stay alive? Can the Wildcats stay alive? The Wildcats dugout chants Luis Tuero's name. Here's the pitch. Swung on, grounded to second. Coming home to get Olesen. The throw gets away! The throw gets away! The Wildcats win it! 12-11. Olesen scores from third as the throw gets away from the catcher. And BCU rides their luck all the way. And they will stay alive and play on Friday.
The Cardiac Cats. Mike, I need a nap.
Oh, my goodness. 12-11. It was a ground ball right back to the pitcher. Caraway threw home, but his throw, which would have beaten Olesen by a mile, went right past the catcher Louise to the backstop. Pressure makes fools of good men, I believe is the quote. And that came back to bite the Jackson State bullpen today. The Wildcats win the game of the year, 12-11.
Win number 30 on the season, Mike. There's not one thing that I've ever seen in the game of baseball that was not in this game. We saw some great pitching performances. We saw, of course, Eric Gonzalez for JSU was outstanding, really gave his Tigers a chance to win the game.
Pablo Torres was great for
Pablo
VCU.
Torres was great. We saw some struggles on both sides. Of course, Yohan Gonzalez was a little bit shaky. Gaviria did not start this game well, if you can even remember that back in ancient history at this point.
4 hours ago.
We've seen clutch hitting. We've seen guys taking advantage of errors. We've seen long innings. We've seen quick innings. The bottom line is right where we started this game. Jonathan Hernandez tells his players, this ball game is in your hands. It wasn't pretty. If I'm Coach Hernandez, if I'm this pitching staff, you are taking this ball game, throwing it away, erasing it from your mind. I don't want to see half of the stuff we saw in this game ever again. But then there's the whole other half. You come out with the victory, you move on, and that is all that matters.
Right, you can look at me right now. My hand is still shaking.
Mike, I'm right there with you. That is the most unbelievable game of baseball I may have ever seen in my life.
Unbelievable. So a game, I just want to touch on this real quick, and we'll move on and continue to recap the game and get you out of here. But my voice is almost gone. They just announced the start time of 4:50 p.m. for a game that was supposed to start at 3 o'clock. We've played that long.
We appreciate anybody sticking with us, especially who came over from WELE and stuck with us here on YouTube. Baseball is something else,
Baseball,
Mike.
in the words of Sarah Langs, a great MLB reporter, baseball is fun.
Baseball. You know, Mike, there was a lot of times today when baseball wasn't fun. But baseball, at the end of the day, is fun. We move on. We play tomorrow. We keep it moving.
Here's your final line score before we get too lost. Bethune-Cookman, 12 runs, 12 hits, 3 errors, left 6 on base. Jackson State, 11 runs, 17 hits, 2 errors, 12 left on base. The winning pitcher is Yohan Gonzalez. The losing pitcher is Dalen Caraway. None of the extra stats matters. All that matters in the playoffs is survive and advance. The Wildcats have done that. They will play tomorrow at noon against the loser of Grambling State and Southern. We will await with bated breath to see what that happens. For more information on that game, go to bcuathletics.com. I'm sure Harvey in the other room is writing up as fast as he can a story to post there as we speak. Come back tomorrow. WELE, the Cat Eye Network, noon. We're going to do it again as the Wildcats survive to Friday. For Bryce Wojnowski and myself, Michael Torello, thank you so much for bearing with us through this monster of a game. We'll see you tomorrow is a phrase I didn't think I'd be saying a couple of times today, but we are saying it. Goodbye from Rush Chandler Stadium for now. We'll see you tomorrow right here on the Cat Eye Network.